ERA take on a Marlins team that has lost 7 straight games. Let's see if the Birds can fry the fish. It's up next on MASN. It's the Orioles on MASN. We are in South Florida as the Orioles get set to take on the Miami Marlins. It is interleague baseball, and tonight it's the first game in a 3-game series. And hi, everyone. I'm Jim Hunter. In baseball, of course, it's all about today. You do what you need to do to get a win. Yesterday for the Orioles, a perfect example. They went through 7 pitchers to pull out that win, packed it up, and headed here to South Florida. Now, for players, though, it's a little bit different. Players you see in the past can draw on things, especially if it's adversity, to try to turn things around and be even better for their team. And Ubaldo Jimenez, who makes the start for the Orioles tonight, he is a living example of that. You look back to his season in 2014, we all know it was a struggle. Through his first 7 starts, he was 2-4 with a 4.73 ERA. You see the walks were up, the base runners per 9 up, and the pitches per inning up. But over the winter, he worked very hard, took it into the spring and then into the regular season, and he has been outstanding. Very consistent. The ERA 2.43. You see the walks are down, the base runners down, and the pitches per inning down. And Jim Palmer, it's all about the player making the adjustments, and to the credit of Ubaldo, with the help of the coaching staff, he certainly has done that. Right now, he's one of the best pitchers in the league.
Yeah, he really had to do that last year. He walked too many people. They didn't score a lot of runs for him. Started out 0-4. And then changed his wind-up a little bit. Tom Cheedy and Dave Wallace, pitching coaches. And in the spring, and a good thing today, I saw Ramon Martinez walk in, former 20-game winner, brother of Pedro Martinez, who's getting in the Hall of Fame. So they got him over his front side. He's able to pitch down in the zone. This year they are scoring runs for him. He's able to hit the bottom of the strike zone with a multitude of pitches. I mean, he's got a good splitter. He's got a 2-seamer. The velocity we saw in his last game, which is a game he lost by giving up 2 runs. In my opinion, the Orioles defense did not play against some speedy guys for the Angels. Otherwise, he probably wins that game. But his last 2 games, Jim, over 7 runs. He's doing everything you want to do to give the Orioles a chance to win, and that's something he couldn't do last year.
So tonight, Ubaldo takes the mound, the opening game of this 3-game weekend series. And when we come back, we'll hear from pitching coach Dave Wallace. It's the Orioles and Marlins from Miami. Last season, when the Orioles made their surge to the AL East title, it was all about the pitching coming around. And the pitching is starting to come around. You see, in April and May, the ERA for the Orioles, this is as a staff, 4.78 last month, 3.27, third best in the American League this month. And the only reason the Orioles haven't won more games, the run support has tailed off in the month of May. Now, I spoke with pitching coach Dave Wallace and asked him if there was one specific thing the pitching staff worked on in order to have this turnaround.
I wish there was, Jim. I think a lot of it is just coming out of spring training, and no matter what you do to try to emulate the season, I think once you get in the season and the intensity kicks up, I think it takes a couple starts to really get into that. And I think, once in a while, guys, there's a reality check, and it's like, oh, my God, we're in the season now, we got to get going. So, and there's something to be said for that, because there's nothing like the intensity of a major league game and competition. And unless you've been out on the mound, unless you've gone through it, most people wouldn't understand it. But I think more than anything, that's probably it. And also, physically you get in shape. I know we get in shape in spring training, but it's a little bit different when you, after that first or second start of the season, when it really counts. There's just a different reaction to the muscle groups and everything that goes on.
There's been an increase in the efficiency, certainly with the starters. You have 11 starts of at least 7 innings in just 18 games in May. Is that in part what you're describing, where April they found where they were going to be, their niche, if you will, and now in May they're executing it?
Well, yeah, we hope so. You like to think that's the plan, but, and I think you and I talked previously, coming into the season, one of our goals was to try to get the starters a little bit deeper into the games, to get that second and third out in the 7th inning, to get through that, to save us a reliever, to keep those guys fresh down there. So, for the most part, that's been okay. Now, the question is going to be, can we continue that? Obviously, I don't know we can continue at that rate, but I think we have those 5 guys in the rotation that come up and are capable of doing it. So you hope they do.
All right, and with those 5 guys in the rotation, Ubaldo goes tonight. You've been working with him since the beginning of last year, then in September, altering his mechanics a bit, then in spring training, Ramon Martinez comes in to help you out. He's been beyond consistent. Now, has it been just one little thing, like one little adjustment mechanically that has made it all click?
No, I think it's been a combination of things. I think, Ubaldo being the guy he is, he was probably more upset than anyone last year the way it turned out for him. He went back to the Dominican this winter and back home and did a lot of throwing. The fact that I think he only had maybe 120-plus innings last year, probably come in a little bit stronger and fresher than normal. And Ramon certainly has been a big influence on him from spring training right through the season. And we try to keep him with us, especially when Ubaldo's going to take the mound. So, and Ubaldo himself has made a tweak or two in his mechanics. Nothing major, no major overhauls, but a combination of things. And it's funny, and I'm sure you guys can tell as well, when you look in his face, you see a different guy. There's a whole aura about him this year that just wasn't there last year.
Coming into the game tonight, you're coming off that game yesterday where, because of the rain delay, you had to use 6 of the 7 relievers. Is there any concern about the relievers and their availability tonight?
Well, we might hold back on a guy or two, but really, and it's funny because we just talked about the starters going 7 innings, and then you look back and say, oh my gosh, the workload on the bullpen hasn't been quite as much as you almost want it to be, so they get regular work. So you're always in a catch-22 with the pitching staff. It's either too much, too little. But I think to answer your question, I think we're okay for tonight. The key will be, getting a little bit deeper in the ball game than that Ubaldo has in the past. But if we get the start we've got most of the year out of him tonight, I think we'll be okay.
And so will he. And the good news, talked about Ramon Martinez. I mean, one of the Class C guys at baseball is Dave Wallace. Not only knows what he's doing, great rapport with Dom Chidi. They're really kind of like brothers, even though Dave's a little bit older than him. But the credit he gives to Ramon Martinez, and Ramon did come in tonight because Ubaldo is pitching, and they made some adjustments. And it's really great to see. And Ubaldo does work hard. Kevin Cash was his bullpen coach. He said he cares a great deal, and he didn't do much throwing because of the free agent situation 2 years ago. And as Dave said, totally different pitcher. So let's see. This is a very big ballpark. Keep the ball in the middle of the plate and away from the bat head of Giancarlo Stanton. I think you got a chance to beat this ball club.
All right. Does the offseason of Ubaldo, which has led to this tremendous start, does that alter everybody else and their offseason next year?
No, I don't think so, because I think a lot of the maybe holding back in spring training was because the Orioles went to the postseason. So the innings were up a little bit, the stress level was up a little bit, but that old cliche now is you never have enough pitching. If you went out of spring training, everybody was saying, well, we can't pitch Ubaldo out of the bullpen because he'll be a better starter, but he may not be one of the best of our 6 starters, because they had Gausman and they had Norris. Norris has really struggled. He got sick, didn't pitch well today in his rehab. I don't know what that'll lead to. Gausman had some shoulder problems. Now all of a sudden, along with Miguel Gonzalez, Ubaldo's pitched as well as any of the Orioles starters, or better. I mean, Chen doesn't have a very good record because of run support, but he gives you a chance to win every time he goes out there.
So here in Miami, our BGE home game time temperature. Well, outside it is 82 degrees and muggy. We're inside, closed dome. 76 degrees inside. BGE Home is Baltimore's home team for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Why would you call anyone else? Interesting retractable roof here. As the Orioles get their first look at it, here's the Southwest starting lineup. Brought to you by Southwest. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Buck Showalter doesn't miss a thing. Left-handed heavy lineup tonight against Henderson Alvarez, Machado, Paredes, and Adam Jones. Adam, a career .299 hitter in interleague, 22 homers, 75 RBIs. Davis, Snyder, and Hardy with Diaz in right, Caleb Joseph, and with Paredes at second base because Ubaldo Jimenez must bat. National League rules here in Miami.
Yeah, Henderson Alvarez at 24 out of Venezuela, Valencia. A lot of fastballs, really good second fastball, power breaking ball, and a really good changeup that'll be probably in the high 80s. He can hit 93, 98, coming off one of those really special years, but did have some arm problems. You can see the batting average. This is what you alluded to, Jim, 381. I'm not sure that the Marlins or the opposition has seen the real Henderson Alvarez, because the Orioles saw him when he first came up with Toronto, and he did, I think, get one of his first wins against the Orioles. He can make you hit the ball on the ground, especially last year, and then even this year with the arm problem, he's only thrown 2 home runs, but the inning total not where you would assume because of the injury.
So Alvarez will go to work against the Orioles.
It kind of hurt my arm just watching that windup. A little recoil.
Well, apparently he's got a tear in his elbow that he's had for years, and he just keeps pitching with it. So the shoulder problems aside, as he just came off the DL, but he also has the elbow issue, and we're anxious to see the first pitch. Apparently he does a turn of the century, and there's Dan Jennings, the general manager / now manager of the Miami Marlins. Very unusual circumstance here where the GM became the manager. Now let's see, this is going to go back to the turn of the century, and I'm talking about 1920. And he'll do this just on the first pitch of the game. And Manny will take a strike, and it's 0-1.
And then Paul Emmel behind home plate. I mean, you could hurt your rotator cuff with that little move.
Manny's bat is heating up. He's hitting 4 straight and pops it up right side. Justin Bohr, the first baseman, is calling. He's got it for the out. And on 2 pitches, 1 away, in the Orioles first.
Take a look at their defense. As Suzuki Ichiro comes out of the American League, Seattle Yankees. He's playing left field at age 41. Ozuna can go get him. In center, Stanton, of course, the 300 million plus man. Prado, Echeverria, and then Gordon and Bohr. And Bohr's a big guy, but they say he plays very well at first base. And Real Muto doing the catching.
And Jimmy Paredes will take ball 1. Yeah, this Marlins team, they are first in the National League in team fielding. 16 errors on the year.
You know, I know you really do your work. They lost 7 in a row. I mean, they started out 3-11, then they won 9 out of 10, and now they're falling on hard times again. And you look at, there's no number that really jumps out. You just haven't been winning. Here's a good changeup. Again, you want to send a message to the opposition. So he hangs a slider to Machado. He pops it up. And then he gets 2-0 to a guy about as hot as anybody, and then he throws him a 2 changeup. And they won't ever forget that.
Roller to first, and that'll bounce foul.
Because it gets you back in the count. It tells everybody on the Oriole bench that this guy is not predictable. And as we mentioned, he's coming off one of those
really good years. 12-7. He had 3 shutouts. ERA, love to pitch here, 2.65. I mean, that's a very low earned run average even in the National League without the designated hitter.
2-2 on Paredes, 1 out, none on, and that's outside. Well, for Alvarez, it's his 4th start. All 4 have been here in his home ballpark. He made 2 before the DL, and this is his 2nd start since the DL. He came off last Sunday, and the Marlins, this is the last series of a long homestand for Miami. Paredes, a hard hit ball. There's a base hit in the right field, and there's our first look at how fast that infield grass is.
Well, it's like playing on turf.
In the right for a single.
Yeah, really playing on turf, and again, it's a very young ball club. Kristen Yelich getting the night off. I mean, 23 years old. They signed him long term, and he's won a Gold Glove last year. Well, again, just it looked like a sinker, find a hole, and that's what happens on turf. Well, used to go into Kansas City with all those guys that could not only hit but run. It wasn't hits at somebody, it was going into the outfield.
So Paredes stays hot. He's now hitting 6 straight, his current hitting streak.
Yeah, I would imagine this is a kind of field where you really better charge the ball because a lot of them are going to get through.
Ball 1 to Adam Jones. Adam coming off a .250 homestand. He was 9 for 36. Home run and 3 RBIs. See, he's now 5th in the league in batting with that .333 average. And a bouncer to first. Bohr steps on first, throws to second, and in time they got the sliding Paredes. The reverse double play going 3-6, and the Orioles go down in the first. So a nice play there by Justin Bohr at first base as Paredes is tagged, and a real good throw to Echeverria at second base for the tag on Paredes. We'll head to the bottom of the first, and see Buck talking with Paul Emmel. He may decide to challenge that Paredes' foot was in before the tag. And he changes his mind and says, nope, let's let it go. So the Marlins coming up in the bottom of the first, no score. In the bottom of the first, it'll be D. Gordon leading off. He has 11 3-hit games on the year, leads the National League in base hits. Ozuna, Stanton, and Prado with Bohr at first. Realmuto, the catcher, Suzuki, Echeverria, and Alvarez for Miami against Ubaldo Jimenez.
So there are the pitches. A lot of two-seam fastballs. 91 to 93. Breaking ball is the curveball slider. And of course, he has a splitter to go with it. Lower and run average.
Yeah, and that's a base hit to center field. So Gordon, who came in just 1 for his last 16, and the stolen base threat immediately gets on here in the first.
Yeah, take a look at the Oriole defense. Snyder, Jones, and Diaz. And remember, this is a huge outfield. Machado, Hardy, Paredes playing second base. Pierce with a grand slam, getting the evening off. And then Chris Davis, Caleb Joseph back in the lineup. Yeah, you're right. Gordon can run. He does run. I mean, he's attempted 19 steals, 12 of them successful.
He had 64 stolen bases last year with the Dodgers. He has 12 so far this year. He also has been caught most often. He has been caught 7 times. So here is Marcell Ozuna, and a throw to first. Now with Ubaldo on the mound, 4 have been successful stealing. The Orioles have caught just 1.
Well, you could always run on him, and I mean, this is one of those situations. Chris Davis going to play in front of the bag, kind of jockey back and forth, and you wanted to keep Gordon off. You weren't able to do that, and you cannot, on the road, you cannot let him affect the fact that he can run, because that spells out big inning. If he scores, so be it. But do not let him disturb your timing.
There he goes. Pitch is swung on and popped up. Caleb Joseph appears to have a play back of the plate. And he has it for the out. And back to first goes D. Gordon. So 1 away here in the first. Let's get a look at our Jeep inside the numbers. Fewest times trailing after first inning on the year. The Marlins have trailed only 4 times. Orioles only 6. That's a good way to get off to a good start.
Yeah, they trailed yesterday, and then they came right back with 3, and then that game kind of jockeyed back and forth till they eventually lost in the late innings, 7-6. Dan Jennings, you mentioned, general manager. Mike Redmond fired, extension, and apparently didn't do the job he did, but he was saying all we needed to do is, start hitting balls where they're not playing, and they did yesterday. So they do score 6 runs, but they give up 7. And that's what happens when you get into those losing streaks. You can lose a lot of different ways.
Giancarlo Stanton, the number 3 batter. He is second in the National League in home runs. He's got 12, and those 39 RBIs lead the league. Bryce Harper of the Nats leads the National League with 15.
Very close.
Just getting back in.
Yeah, sometimes you almost will pick somebody off throwing a ball into the runner. Now, if you throw it by him, and you could see Chris Davis with pretty long arms, you throw it by him, it's a triple. He'll get all the way to third.
Paul Emmel, the home plate umpire, looking into the Orioles bench for some reason with his mask off. And whatever was the problem, Buck was on the top step. Now he's back down. So Stanton, a dangerous hitter.
Well, tremendous power.
There goes Gordon. Pitch is taken for a strike. Throw to second is not in time. He got in. Late call there by Pat Hoberg as he held the bag.
Yeah, he kind of waited. The tag, Jimmy Paredes drops the tag on him, and he doesn't make the call. And it almost looks like, I guess he's coming off. You can see Caleb Joseph shift the body, slam tag, and boy, it is hard to tell. Gets it down. Yeah, hands are on, and I guess maybe he's waiting. This is the difference between Jonathan Scope. He would have sustained the tag, and I don't know if his foot came off for a moment. That's what Jonathan does as well as anybody. And of course, Paredes doesn't play that much second base. And good throw, but you saw the speed of D. Gordon, and that's what he brings to this ball club.
Going to third, pitch is taken, and easily stealing third is Gordon. So he singles, he steals second, he steals third.
Oh, I was talking to D. Gordon about what a pain Ricky Henderson was, and again, tremendous speed, and like you mentioned, over 60 stolen bases for the Dodgers last year.
Ground ball and a base hit into left field by Stanton, and the Marlins grab the lead. Manny with a nice effort, but hit too hard, so the stolen bases help, and Florida breaks on top.
Yeah, again, that's that very fast infield, but probably going to get through anyway. But maybe with the speed of Gordon, you play a step closer to third base, but he steals third, and then you can see right here just a 2-seam fastball, but tremendous bat speed from Giancarlo Stanton. He's just able to get the bat headed to the ball and then drive in the run. Number 40.
And his league leading 40th on the year, 24th run for Gordon. Still only 1 down, and here is Martin Prado, who's in the cleanup spot. And there's a strike. Prado in his first year with the Marlins. He finished last year with the Yankees after beginning it with the Arizona Diamondbacks. He was traded to New York, and then this past off season traded here to the Marlins. Weak pop-up foul over near the stands. Davis overruns out of room.
Yeah, we saw Nathan Eovaldi pitch for the Yankees, and he was part of that trade. Dan Jennings, again, I keep referring to him as former general manager, now manager, but the skipper of the Marlins, Dan Jennings, said, of course, he was the guy that acquired Martin Prado. He said, really good player. I mean, .291 lifetime hitter, but again, you're looking for a veteran guy on a very young club. You're looking at him right here.
Line to center field, shallow. Jones in, won't get there. That's a bloop base hit off the end of the bat for Prado. Third hit in the inning.
Well, it's a huge park, and I think anytime you come into a new park, Orioles don't play here, it gives an advantage because, again, I mean, it's not a bad pitch. It's down and away. You make contact. You hit it off the end of the bat, find a hole. And there's more holes to be found in this outfield. I mean, this park compared to Camden Yards, it's like the Grand Canyon to maybe your swimming pool in the backyard. And it's just a much, much bigger ballpark.
So 2 on with 1 down. A run in already for the Marlins. And here is Justin Bour, the first baseman, who has found a niche facing right-handed pitching. Good off-speed pitch, and he swings through it. Now, Justin Bour, one of only 5 players to have played in college at George Mason University in Fairfax, Virginia, to play in the big leagues. Well, Sean Camp had a 14-year career pitcher. And a swing and a miss. Same pitch, same result. And Chris Widger had a 10-year career as a catcher. They both came out of George Mason.
And because he's been so hot, and he has been, I mean, great job pinch hitting, 5 for 11, 7 for his last 20, driving in runs. He doesn't go unnoticed in a pitcher's meeting. So a good fastball hitter, kind of a pull guy. Talked into Frank Mendocino, their hitting instructor, and he said, he's got the high leg kick, gets his foot down, he can use the whole field, more of a pull hitter. But they got him out of the Cub organization, and he had a monster year down at their AAA affiliate last year. 18 home runs, but another 27 doubles, so 45 extra base hits. Good
Strike 3 called. They set him up for that pitch, the first 2 pitches of the at-bat, and Bour knew it, and he just walks away. 2 men down on Ubaldo's first strikeout.
Yeah, if you want to guess with 2 strikes, this is what happens. You take a fastball pretty much outside middle. You're looking splitter because that's what he's thrown. Look at him pull down those 2 seams, and look at the ball run to the outside corner. You don't really have to do a whole lot. Just maybe stay a little bit to the left of the ball if you're right-handed, and really pull down on those 2 seams, and you get that late life.
Here's Realmuto, the catcher, and he'll take a strike. JT, or Jacob Tyler Realmuto. He has become the everyday catcher here.
Yeah, he told Dan Jennings, just you can call me anything you want, put me in the lineup.
0-1 the count. Bounce towards the hole. There's Manny. Gobbles it up, gets it to Paredes, and that ends the threat. So all in all, not too bad for Ubaldo. Does give up 3 hits, but the Marlins settle for just 1 run. 2 men left on base. We'll head to the second in Miami. O's come to bat, down by a run. $500 for being selected and won $500 more for every Orioles home run hit in the game tonight. Play baseball buck scratch-offs and win up to $50,000 or enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Just visit mdlottery.com/baseball. Ubaldo in that first inning, 16 pitches, 14 strikes, and despite 3 hits, just 1 run.
Yeah, and he's talking to Jimmy Paredes about D. Gordon. So a lesson has been learned by a lot of pitchers that face him. Keep him off base if you can.
Chris Davis will lead off. Snyder and Hardy to follow. And it's a little low. Chris off a 5 for 31 homestand, but he does have a modest 2-game hitting streak working. And a strike on the outer edge, 1-1. Chris is 5 for 10 against Henderson Alvarez. One of those a home run. And a foul back. Let's get a look at our Maryland Live Casino inside the numbers.
Pretty good company. Encarnacion, and then Davis, and then Stanton, and then Batista. That's what those gentlemen do for a living. With the big fly.
And a little low, 2-2.
Yeah, he read that breaking ball. So he hung one to Manny. The one he threw that he fouled back was a hanger. Somebody's going to run into one if he keeps throwing those belt-high slide balls.
Bounce, diving try by the first baseman. Right there is Gordon. Gets to the pitcher covering for the out. So again, Davis into the shift. And the defense able to get the play as Henderson Alvarez hustled over. So that'll go 4-1 on the putout.
Yeah, and he gets there pretty quickly. And you can see Bohr. I mean, he's trying to dive and catch it. Probably a break that he doesn't deflect it or hit his glove because it's an easier play because of the shift. Yeah, Perry Hill. I was talking to Perry Hill, you know, their infield coach, and he was talking about how much work D. Gordon, 10 o'clock in the morning, he'll come out and work just to try to get better. It's nice to have a young player. Gordon only 26. Comes over. I mean, he was an impact player for the Dodgers, but you know, Howie Kendrick now a Dodger, so he's playing second base for them. And, oh, there it is.
The Ephus slow breaking ball that freezes the hitter.
And not only did he throw it, he threw it over. It's a little Jared Weaver curveball.
0-2 on Snyder, playing in left field tonight. Down and away. Snyder was just 2 for 12 on the homestand without an RBI. He's got 37 at-bats without an RBI. 1-2 is swung on and missed. Down on strikes goes Snyder and 2 away.
Yeah, you don't get a whole lot of chances, not anything to hit in that at bat. And then check out this changeup. Turns it over like a screwball. Real Muto just kind of slides to the outside corner and he hits the target. See him staying on the left side of the ball. And I always thought that Henderson Alvarez, for a young pitcher, had a tremendous feel. I mean, not only good arm, a lot of pitches.
J.J. Hardy will take ball 1. J.J. had the game-winning hit yesterday. And there's a strike on the corner. Henderson Alvarez was part of that huge trade a couple of seasons ago between Toronto and the Marlins. Echeverria, the shortstop, was part of that. Henderson Alvarez. And all the players with the big contracts went north of the border. Burley and Jose Reyes.
Well, they tried it for 1 year and it didn't work. A lot of high salary, kind of the high salaried spread, so to speak. And then they found Toronto, who got all those veterans. And
right field towards the corner. Tough play for Stanton. And in the corner, he tries for it and bangs into the wall. Nice effort by Giancarlo Stanton, but he can't hold on.
Wait a minute, the wall's still shaking. A 6'6". And long strides, and he gets to the wall just as the ball hits the wall and bounces off his glove. Yeah, I was watching it. He came out hit early today, and they hit him fungos, and Not only is he big and he can hit the ball a long way, he's got a pretty good arm.
5 outfield assists for Stanton. JJ stays alive in the foul ball. Alvarez signed with Toronto at 16 years old out of Venezuela. It's his 3rd season with the Marlins. And that's down and in. He had 10 wins with Toronto. He's got 17 as a Marlin. So 27 big league wins for Henderson Alvarez. Good at bat here for Hardy. Here's the slow breaking ball, but this one bounces. From 1-2 to 3-2 on JJ.
Chuck Hernandez, boy, long time pitching coach here the last 3 years. Done a nice job.
Ground ball right to third, backhanded there by Prado. And Hardy's retired, and the Orioles go 3 up and 3 down. Mid-second in Miami, Marlins come to bat on a lovely night, leading by a run. Later in tonight's game, all brought to you by Miller Lite. 1-0 Florida, 3 base hits in the first inning, but the 2 stolen bases by D. Gordon more important to that run. Marlins have the worst attendance in the National League, and a sparse crowd here on this Friday night. They are trying to snap a 7-game losing streak. They've also gone 1-10 in their last 11 games. Valdo's 16-pitch first inning. Here's Suzuki, and he'll take a strike. Echeverria on deck, and then the pitcher Henderson Alvarez for Miami in the second.
Yeah, talking to Dan Jennings, and they chose Ichiro because they were thinking, okay, if one of our young guys get hurt, who could we get that is obtainable, that is going to be able to help us play at that level as a 4th outfielder? And that's pretty much what Ichiro's done the last couple of years with the Yankees, and he was willing to do it.
Christian Yelich back from the DL, but still not back in the regular lineup. Baldo falls behind, and this one's slap foul. Of course, Suzuki in his career, he's now 41 years old. It's his 15th major league season, but keep in mind he played in Japan prior to that. 2,873 major league hits. Up and in. 127 shy of 3,000. The only active player with more hits than Ichiro Suzuki is Alex Rodriguez. And he may have fouled off ball 4, but wanted to protect the outside corner.
You don't see him do that very often, swinging the ball that far out. And as you get older, and he is 41. In the fall, he turns 42. And bat slows, so you started a little bit earlier.
And another slap foul. Suzuki in his career has a couple of batting titles. 01 and 04, and he had 10 consecutive 200-hit seasons his first 10 years with Seattle.
And he, 262 when he broke George Sisler's all-time record with 257 hits.
And there's another base hit. Over to cut it off is Travis Snyder, so he battled him. Got to 3-2 and a leadoff single for a second straight inning. Here's our American standards. Who's hot and who's not?
Well, Ubaldo, again, if you look at that number, that's not what's happening tonight, as they already have 4 hits and a run. And then that's a very, again, the last 5 games, and collectively on the year, he's having a nice little year, especially when he hits in the 8th spot.
Our American Standards Who's Hot, Who's Not celebrate the season with the American Standard All-Star event. Visit MidAtlanticComfort.com for amazing rebate and financing opportunities. Adeiny Echeverria, the shortstop. He's in a 6-for-25 drought, but in this number 8 spot in the batting order, he's batting .363. Now will Suzuki try to run here? 490 career steals, most among active players. He is 3 out of 7 this year.
Well, they've now stolen what, 26 because of Gordon's 2, and they've been caught 16 times. It's not really the percentage you want. Well, they'll run, or at least they have over the previous games. And this is game number 43 for the Marlins. I mean, I live up in Palm Beach, and I read the Palm Beach Post, and they train north about 15 miles, and boy, a lot of expectations for the Marlins all spring long.
There's another base hit. Adam Jones over to try to cut it off. He does get there. Suzuki will go to third. Echeverria holds it first. Nobody covering it first as Chris Davis was in for a possible play at the plate just in case Suzuki decided to try.
Yeah, it gets a good pitch. Really, I mean, just like playing golf right here. Watch him go down and golf this ball. Pretty much in the middle of the plate. Adam makes a great play not to keep this from going for 2. He throw with every intention of scoring from first if the ball either goes off his glove or gets by him.
I just had a flashback there. I saw Jeff Conine, who now works for the Marlins, on the field before the game, and he wore number 19 with the Orioles. As Chris Davis went over to get in position for a possible cutoff play at the plate.
When you play interleague ball and you go in the National League ballparks and you watch the the pitchers hit, you realize what a different game it is. These guys were out early. Anderson Alvarez, one of them. All the starting pitchers were hitting, and they do the butcher boy where they fake, turn around, try to bunt, and put the ball in play. What an advantage it is! Even if you're not a real good hitter, you got to be better than most of the guys your counterparts, because you just don't do it anymore. If you're an American League pitcher, yeah, you can help yourself. But the biggest thing is don't get hurt. And it's not only when you're hitting. If you happen to get on base, don't do it when you're running the bases.
Well, the Orioles early in this game, up the middle, they're playing for 2. Machado is tight at third, and Davis holding the bag at first. So if they can get a double play, it looks like they'll go that way and allow the run to score. And a bouncer towards the hole, and a base hit for the pitcher Alvarez, and here's Suzuki to score.
Well, see, I mean, that's almost intentional. And when you play Pepper and you come out and hit, you realize putting the ball in play on a fast infield can be huge. And that's all he did. I watched him hit today. He'd go out. I mean, just watch this. He'd close right there. I mean, he's just trying to hit the ball. I mean, it was almost like he did this on purpose. And not only does he get the runner in, he actually gets a base hit.
His second hit on the year. He's now 2 for 5. It's his first RBI. 2 on, still nobody out. 3 straight hits and already 6 hits for the Marlins through 1 inning plus for Ubaldo. D. Gordon shows bunt, and he takes it down and in. Now, if you're the Marlins and you've lost 7 straight, even though D. Gordon is leading the National League in batting, Dan Jennings may try for the sacrifice to get another run here and hope that Gordon with his speed might beat it out.
Yeah, that's a good call, because he does have blazing speed, and it's a lot of pressure on your defense. And then of course there's a wave, but you really don't know if he's going to bunt or not. So you're playing in, which already enhances, if he's not bunting, his chance of getting a base hit.
See, Machado's in on the grass. Davis at first was ready to charge as well. And then a foul back, so it's 1-2. Gordon has bounced into 2 double plays on the year.
Well, he's got 65 hits now. That 30, actually make it 41-point lead over Adrian Gonzalez of the Dodgers for the batting lead.
Check swing and appeal to third. He did not go. Wow.
That's a horrible call because, you know, it's funny if you watch this, he's ready to go to the dugout.
Yep.
Because he knows he swung. Yeah, see, he's taking a step. The only guy not in step with him was Andy Fletcher down at third.
So 2-2, 2 on and none out. And a bouncer to first. Chris Davis steps on the bag. The other 2 runners advance, but the Orioles do get an out. Keep the speedy Gordon off the base. And 1 away here in the Miami second. Celebrate summer at Oriole Park by picking up the new Birdland Summer 6-pack. Choose any 6 remaining games throughout the season and enjoy savings up to 20% off the cost of single game tickets. You can build a perfect plan, either great rivalry games or the promotion days, t-shirt nights, fireworks night, many more possibilities. For all the details, let's get online, Orioles.com/6pack, or call 888-848-BIRD. Showalter now will play his infield in to try to cut off another run in this inning. Marcell Ozuna, the center fielder, up. And then a foul back to the right. Ozuna in the first inning popped foul to Caleb Joseph behind the plate.
Got 269 hitter last year, 164 strikeouts, and you know if Ubaldo would love to get in a position to try to strike him out. And then, of course, you make a decision. With first base open, do you pitch around Stanton? Even though Prado is right behind him.
Well, 0-2 on a good swing and a miss pitch. Up and away, 1-2. Ozuna's 24. Last year was his first year as the regular center fielder. He's been in the Marlins organization since he was 17 years old.
Yeah, good power the other way, and did hit 23 home runs last year.
Breaking ball hit towards second base. Paredes is there. Throw to the plate and safe at the plate. It is the sliding Echeverria. Paredes didn't charge it. He waited on it. And a real good jump going on contact by Echeverria.
Yeah, and then you got to know who's running. I mean, he does everything other than charge it, and then again he makes a perfect throw. You just can't have big innings, and Jimmy doesn't really play out there very much. And if you come in, it still was going to be bang bang. I just think you have to take the out at first, and that's part of what happens when your starter's struggling, because now all of a sudden, not only do you not get the out, they got to face Stanton, and now you're talking about a huge inning, at least the possibility of it.
Giancarlo Stanton, an RBI single in the first.
Yeah, watching the game yesterday, because when we had the 2-hour rain delay, and you're just figuring, you know what, you really hope the Marlins
win.
Yeah, win, and they break their losing streak, which is up to 7 games.
Strike at the knees. Well, this Marlins team, when this slump began, they were 1 game below 500. They were at 15-16. And they've lost 10 of 11 to fall to 16-26. And Dan Jennings, who's now the manager, was the GM who put this team together. And yet Mike Redmond was fired, and they replaced the fired manager with the guy who put the team together.
Well, yeah, they've been up and down. They started out 3-11, then they go 9-1, and then they go what, 1-11? Yeah, up and down. Ubaldo trying to go to a little different level with his velocity. And you know what Stan's trying to do. Doesn't have to get a base hit with a runner at third, less than 2 outs. Just wants to drive one somewhere.
Ubaldo's ahead 1-2. Check swing and a foul. You know, to give you an idea of how the turnover has been here in Miami, Stanton, who's at the plate, is in his 6th season, and he's playing for his 7th different manager, with Dan Jennings now the skipper of the Miami Marlins. Count holds 1-2. Won't chase.
Well, they certainly appear, and then to be a better team coming into the year than they played. And of course, D. Gordon said on paper, I played on a lot of good teams that good on paper, and unless you actually play well, good things don't happen. And that's been the case. It's kind of been a collective effort. Their best pitcher is now pitching tonight. He was hurt early. Jose Fernandez is one of the best pitchers, young pitchers, had Tommy John. So Steve Cishek, their closer, struggling.
Oh, big strikeout on a slow breaking ball. Well, Stanton goes down. That's number 2 for Ubaldo, and 2 away.
Yeah, every once in a while he'll drop down, and I mean, it's almost, I mean, this is a hanging slider. It just hangs right out of the zone, and Giancarlo Stanton thinks he's going to come down and maybe get the belt high, and he just swings right through it. It's one of those backup sliders. It spins more than breaks, and you get the big strikeout.
Well, Stanton has now struck out 56 times on the year. Caleb Joseph out to talk with Ubaldo. Here's Martin Prado, who singled his first at bat. So 13th batter Ubaldo has faced already, and we're still in the 2nd.
Yeah, tremendous pressure when you come on the road. Buck Showalter, Oriole manager, talking about the fact you really don't need a long man when you play the National League games, because you'll pinch hit every 9 hitters, and especially if you're behind. Not that he wanted that to happen, of course.
1-1 on Prado. Well, Buck said before the game they made a decision following the game, and they did have a long discussion at Camden Yards before the team left for the airport. Would they make a move for the bullpen? They felt they were okay for tonight, but that doesn't mean there might not be a move for tomorrow, depending on how tonight goes. And the Norfolk team, there's a bouncer towards the middle. Paredes was there. He'll step on the bag, and the inning ends. So Ubaldo gets out of it, but 2 more score. We'll head to the 3rd in Miami. Birds come to bat, down 3-0. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. and by PNC for the achiever in you. We're in Miami. Lovely day. Friday night crowd here at Marlins Park. The stadium sits on the site of the old Orange Bowl, which was the former home of the Miami Dolphins and actually hosted 5 Super Bowl games. And when they built at the time, Joe Robbie Stadium more towards the suburbs, it became extinct, so they leveled it.
A little north of here. And came here to see Notre Dame play in the Orange Bowl once. I ran into I think John Miller of NBC. He said, "Hey, I got some tickets for you." I saw the helmets. They were really like around the 50-yard line, but I was so low, all I could see was
the helmets.
Ismail helmet go.
Diaz, the first ball swinging, hits it right to Gordon. And 1 pitch, 1 down in the Oriole third. Well, the Birds are back home on Monday, Memorial Day. They'll take on the Astros at 1:35, and the first 20,000 fans 15 and over receive a Stars and Stripes patterned Oriole barbecue apron. To celebrate the unofficial start of summer, show your Birdland pride, and also get a great afternoon of Orioles baseball. For tickets, Orioles.com, or call 888-848-BIRD. Now, I saw you on camera with your apron on. Did you bring it home with you?
What, the apron?
Yeah.
They didn't let me do that. It was taken away from me.
The one down on the bounce outers, Caleb Joseph. And there's a strike. Caleb did not play in the game yesterday. Got the day game after a night game off.
We had an off day last Monday. I think I saw Gary Thorne walking downtown across from Whole Foods. A couple of barbecue. You have to warm up for Memorial Day.
Right. It's supposed to be nice.
A big spatula and a pair of thongs. Or tongs. No, it was Gary. It was thongs.
There's a visual.
What, Gary with a thong and an apron on? Oh, that's not good.
Right to third. There's Prado. Caleb Joseph retired for the second out. And 2 away. Well, the Orioles, so far this year, the pattern has continued. They are much better at home in pretty much all the categories than they are on the road.
Yeah, and then, of course, not scoring as many runs. You can see 2 runs lower, and then the ERA on the road up. Again, that was a lot of those games played in April because they're just coming off the homestand, and then the bullpen better on the road than at home, and that's been changed as of late. But at the end of the day, you're not going to win a lot of games if you're scoring in the 3.5 run range on the road. Very difficult to win games, and that'll change.
Right to first. There's Justin Bohr. He'll step on the bag to get Ubaldo, and 3 groundouts end the inning. The Orioles have gone in order in the last 2 innings. 7 in a row retired by Henderson Alvarez. Outing last time, a strong outing last night.
Yeah, I looked at the report. Buck Showalter was good enough to let me see it. And then I had talked to Dean Albany, who actually saw the previous one. The velocity was down a tick, 93 to 95 this time, which is plenty. Real good curveball, better command. You could see from no walks. And what I like about, he pitched 2 innings the last time, 4 innings. He's out of options next year, so he's got to be in the big leagues or else. So whatever that might mean, he's got to get his innings. And he only, last year he didn't get the pitch because coming off Tommy John. What do you have, 41 in the 3rd innings? So he needs to get over 100 innings this year, and if he stays healthy, he might be able to do that as he works his way in condition.
So Ubaldo up to 47 pitches. He threw 31 pitches in the 2nd inning. Here's Justin Hoare. And it's upstairs 1-0. Echeverria has retired 7 in a row, and he's faced the minimum 9 through 3 innings. Ubaldo would love a 3-up, 3-down inning, and on it is Snyder makes a sliding catch.
Yeah, really good read. As we mentioned, big outfield, got a great jump. Looks like Bohr just trying. These guys are just playing pepper tonight. And they really have a pretty good idea. And then here comes Travis Snyder. Take away a single. Yeah, you're already down 3-0. They've gotten the first batter on in both the 1st and the 2nd innings. So that will keep that from happening. Of course, Steve Gordon did it and then stole a couple of bases. Scored the 1st run back in the 1st inning.
Here's Realmuto, the catcher. JT is out of Midwest City in Oklahoma. He was classified as a rookie 3rd-round pick in 2010. Got into 11 games last year. Of course, they had Saltalamacchia as the season began. Gave him a pretty good contract to come here as a free agent, and they just released him.
I think they gave him like $21 million over 3 years. And the comment was had not seen a bat slow that demonstratively that quickly at a young age. And they just decided that they were going to move on. And he did sign a contract with the Rangers, which is, they didn't start with the Rangers, started with Atlanta. They got traded in the Mark Teixeira deal, and goes after the high slider.
Ubaldo has 2 strikeouts. He has not walked a batter. He's allowed 3 runs on 6 hits. Orioles have just 1 base hit in this game, 1 base runner in this game. And the 3-2 is hit foul behind the first base coach, Perry Hill. Realmuto 3 hits in his last 20 at-bats. And here's the 7th pitch, and it's hit to Machado. Tough hop, stays with it. And 2 down here in the Marlin 3rd inning. Orioles fans never miss a moment, even when the team is out of town. Just follow @MASN on Instagram for sights from the road, behind-the-scenes moment, exclusive contests, and so much more. Again, search @MASN on Instagram. So here is Ichiro Suzuki. And he'll take low.
Yeah, I was looking at, he's 308 with runners in scoring position. Then you kind of wondered what he did over the course of his career. He's at 313. During the homestand, I was looking at some of the better hitters that I have seen played. I mean, Tony Quinn, 350. How about 350 for a career runners in scoring position?
That's pretty good.
How about Rod Carew, 347.
Well, how about Suzuki just passed Babe Ruth on the all-time list with that single, his first at-bat. You pass the Bambino on anything, that's something to talk about. Base hit number 2,874 in his first at-bat. He came into this game tied with Ruth. Now he's 2 back of Mel Ott, another Hall of Famer. Slash foul the other way. So 126 hits shy of 3,000. And the question is, will he get enough at-bats and be successful enough or efficient enough to do that this year? And the 3-2 is poked foul. Of course, he's still in good shape. Maybe not to play every day anymore, but.
Oh, that's why he signed it. He was willing to come here, come to a different league. It's funny if you follow baseball. When he was with Seattle, it was just a matter of when he would get his 200th hit. You mentioned he did it 10 consecutive years. I thought one of the great insights from our our assistant vice president of baseball personnel, Brady Anderson, he said you could take one of the best hitter or one of the best hitters in the United States, send him to Japan, and he wouldn't win 7 straight batting titles. And that's what he did before he came here. That's how good he's been.
So 2-out walk. Here's Echeverria. Runner goes, and it's fouled off. It's a big weekend for Brady. He's playing in that game in Cooperstown. And he's going to lead off in DH for the American League squad.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that was it this weekend, but somebody did tell me.
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Well, good luck, Brady.
2 days ago, he was taking early BP. Of course, Mike Bordick was his pitcher, but he was pounding the ball.
Oh, I saw him hitting, and you used to always say, I want to see some of those slow curveballs. But he got Iron Mike, because Mike Bordick can throw some batting averages. His equal today, though, I watched Brett Butler. I mean, terrific major league player, throwing to their pitchers. Incredible.
Suzuki doesn't run, and it's lined in a base hit to left field. And Echeverria has another hit. He's 2 for 2. That's the 7th base hit, and all this starting with 2 outs and nobody on.
So what, that 363 hitting in the A spot, very comfortable there, has gone up tonight.
Now, normally would say, well, it's okay, the pitcher's coming up. But Alvarez drove in a run with an RBI single, his first at bat. And a wild swing and a miss.
Yeah, no more fastballs this time.
Now, Jim, what we're noticing here with Paredes at second tonight to keep his bat in the lineup with the National League rules, he has one eye on Bobby Dickerson and one eye on where they want him to play on the field. They're trying to keep Suzuki as close as possible. But Jimmy looks in at Bobby Dickerson, who's leaning on the railing, and he'll give him the signal.
Yeah, that's no different than what Steve Pearce told us, that he never had played second base. He said how comfortable. He said, wow, I got to look at Bobby on every pitch. But you can see the difference. Not only did Anderson Alvarez get a base hit, I mean, he just aired it out. I mean, that was like a double swing. You just get to do it so much more. Nice block right there. Keep runners at first and second by Caleb Joseph.
So Baldo, facing the opposing pitcher, has the count go to 2-2.
I can't tell you when you're really struggling as he is already. The 3-run, 7 hits that you mentioned feels like what, probably 69 pitches, feels like 90, but you can't give up another run.
High fly ball to left, playable for Travis Snyder. And he's got it for the out. A walk, a single, and 2 men left. We will head to the 4th. Birds looking for some runs. Come to bat, down by 3. Thursday has been moved up to 105 from the previously announced start time of 4:05. Now, tickets for the originally scheduled game of Monday, April 27th will be valid for this traditional twin bill. Additional tickets are available, but they won't last long, so come on out and enjoy 2 games for the price of 1, beginning at the new start time at 1:05. For your tickets, just get online, Orioles.com, or if you prefer, just call the Orioles at 888-848-BIRD. Dave Wallace with Ubaldo on the bench.
Yeah, he just, not only Dave Wallace who's standing up, and Ubaldo would say, hey, I just want to have an easy inning. And it's not going to get any easier because they're back to D. Gordon leading it off. So maybe the Orioles can get something going here in the 4th.
Second time through the lineup, Manny Machado popped up to first, his first at-bat, leading off the game. Looking to extend the hitting streak to 5 straight. This Manny got to stay in his own home last night, being here in Miami. And a line drive. There's a base hit to right field from Machado. So Stanton over to play it. Second time through the lineup starts off well. And Manny's on with a single. He's now hitting 5 straight.
Yeah, they were asking me whether he was starting to swing the bat. I said, well, when he does this, and you could see, I mean, that's a fastball right down the middle. And it doesn't really, I mean, he just has to take that inside out swing, which, you know, we saw him, against Toronto, hit the home run, leading off the game. But then again, Donaldson and Encarnacion said, we can do that too. And they hit home runs. But they said Manny kind of got him into the mode. You can use the whole field. And that's what he does when he's hitting well.
Brady swings through it, 0-1. Jimmy singled his first at bat, so he's got a 6-game hitting streak now. He came into the game 1 plate appearance shy of qualifying for the league leaders. He was at 117 and he needed 118. You have to have 3.1 plate appearances times the number of games your team has played, and because he began the year on the DL, he is still trying to work up towards that. Now his 342 coming in, that would have been good enough for tied for second with Mike Moustakas behind Nelly Cruz. So he is on the verge of being able to be listed among the league leaders. And he may have hit a double play ball. Echeverria, the second one. D. Gordon back to first, not in time.
No, he runs too well to double him up, but the amazing thing, and Barry Hill, their infield instructor, talking about Echeverria, he said eventually he's going to win a Gold Glove. That's how good he's been. You talked about the fact that when they made that big trade, getting Reyes and Burley and all the other players, this was the kid, and very highly touted young player for the Blue Jays and now the Marlins. The important thing there is not only did he get one out, he got the lead out.
Right.
So the double play still in order.
And a good slide by Machado. Here's Adam Jones. And a base hit past the dive of Martin Prado. So the Orioles have 2 on in an inning for the first time in this game, and that brings the tying run to the plate.
It sounded like he broke his bat. But what it does do, didn't appear though. I mean, it has a good swing. Prado can't get it, and it will bring Chris Davis to the plate. You just want to put the Marlins on notice. You can score some runs on the road, so it doesn't really have to be a home run. They go back to their shift.
Well, the shift is on against them.
It's funny, they put the shift on early, and then if it gets to a certain count, the shortstop moves over and Prado goes back to second base, or goes into the second base position.
But they may not be able to do that here with a runner at second. So Echeverria on the second base side, and Davis takes outside.
The Orioles could, when I talked about just start getting the runners moving, is do what they've been doing. Just dump some balls into the outfield. I mean, it's such a big outfield. You can see how immense it is.
And looking at Marcell Ozuna out there in that shot we had in center field, I'm not sure if he's playing deep or it's just a huge outfield. he is way out there.
Well, you have to understand, Camden Yards, what, 408? Maybe.
Yeah, this 418 to the deepest part.
Right, and then the power alleys here, maybe a little deeper than the signs that are out there.
High fly ball center field. He got a lot of that one. Ozuna is back on it. On the warning track, he has a play and he makes the catch. Paredes will tag and go to third. Boy, that is a long out at Camden Yards. That's halfway up the bleachers.
Yep. But we're in Miami, unfortunately. That's part of pitching to your ballpark. And he gets behind him, so he goes away and he can't pull it. And now if he pulls it, he's probably out of here. And then Ozuna's going to get to it easily.
So the field dimensions: 340 down the left field line, 384 to left center, 416 to center, 392 and 335. The fences are 11 feet 7 inches, except for that deepest part of center field where it goes up to 13.5 feet. 2 down. Here's Snyder. Chance to break that RBI drought. First and third with 2 down. Snyder has not had an RBI since April 23rd, 1 day shy of a month.
Well, Alvarez, to talk about how comfortable he can be pitching here. 12-7 last year, 160 at home. And that's not even the lowest in history. Fernandez the year before was 112 or 113. And you go all the way back to 2010. I don't know if you remember Josh Johnson, the hard-throwing right-hander? Yeah, his was 157. He could throw 97, very much like Jose Fernandez.
Ball 3. Yeah, he came down with the shoulder issues and
took care of that a couple times.
So 3-0 on Snyder with 2 on and 2 out. Thought about it, but took for a strike, so 3-1. Alvarez not a strikeout pitcher. In fact, his average per 9 of 4.74, the lowest strikeouts per 9 of any active pitcher in the big leagues.
But he does throw ground balls.
Popped up, foul slicing towards the grandstand. Prado will run out of room. Goes to Karam and makes a new friend. So the Orioles with a 3-2 count with 2 down. Jones will be able to break from first. And Paredes at third. He's not forced. He'll have to wait for contact. Full count with 2 down. Orioles trying to get on the board here in the 4th. Outside ball 4. He walked him and the bases are loaded. One thing about Snyder that we've noticed since he joined the Orioles, he really does have patient at bats. He isn't hitting like they expect he will, but he's still not rushing and chasing pitches at the plate. Still being very patient.
Yeah, his dilemma, I mean, that started in spring training as far as the plate discipline. His dilemma is that he hasn't gotten hot enough to make sure that Buck writes his name in the lineup every night. And there is opportunity to do that.
J.J. Hardy now with a chance. High fly ball left center field. It's playable for Ozuna. And he's got it. So Henderson Alvarez pitches out of it. The Orioles will leave the bases loaded here in the 4th inning. Well, it's time for a little snack. Cuban sandwich. Great place to get it in Miami. And there's the finished product. Jim has just sent his people down for two. Well, one for me, I hope.
Yeah. That actually looks pretty good.
That looks outstanding.
All those years when I left Miami Stadium and went up to Southwest early on, of course, Key Biscayne and whatever, but I once stayed up on, trying to think of the apartments. This is Mac's Apartments up on Southwest 8th Street, which is now primarily Cuban, and then all those shops, and then the McAllister Hotel was right on Flagler and Biscayne, and if you walked up Flagler, I mean, fruit juice bars and Cuban sandwich. First Burger King, I think, was actually on Flagler.
Old Bobby Maduro Stadium.
Oh yeah.
That used to be close to here, right?
Yeah, Miami Stadium, just up a little bit north of here.
Gordon fouls it back. Count holds 1-2.
There's some great moments in that ballpark. And you play night games there. Lights were not at their best. But you could hit there. You could hit anywhere.
And it gets away from Joseph, and on the strikeout, D. Gordon's going to reach. What a tough break for Ubaldo as Gordon gets on for a second time on the strikeout.
Yeah, I just think he missed it. I mean, the way, and again, I mean, that's the ball that obviously needs to be blocked. It's down. If it hits the dirt, it's usually going to be a wild pitch, even though it was blockable. And again, you know, you sit up here, you watch it on TV, it does slow the game down. Two-seamer, 91 miles per hour in the dirt, but that's why Caleb Joseph is a pretty good defensive catcher, because he usually keeps that ball in front of him.
And now the track meet again.
Well, tremendous pressure. And because Ozuna can hit so well, and we watched him yesterday during the rain delay, tied up the game with a rocket into right center field. He loves the ball out over the plate. And you really have to quicken up your release point and the release of the ball to give Joseph a chance. So a lot of options here for the Marlins. When they pitch out, there's ball one. Pitch outs are wonderful if they work. They don't run. Now you're behind them.
They called that, by the way, a wild pitch, I guess because it bounced. But it went right between Caleb's legs.
Well, Caleb knows, and John Russell, the bench coach, former catcher, knows that's a ball that you have to keep from going to the backstop.
There goes Gordon, big jump, throw to second base, and safe is the call. And again, Pat Holberg with a delayed call to make sure he didn't overslide the base.
And it was a perfect throw again. This is a breaking ball, so it's going to take a little longer time. And you can see the hands in there. And then again, Paredes kind of tags him up on maybe the inner chest. Bang, bang. But see, if you got it, you have to. And this is the difference between somebody that plays a lot of infield, is you have to sustain the tag because of the instant replay possibility. And the Orioles, different people. Jonathan Scope, Ryan Flaherty, two guys that are injured. They do a better job of that because they played more second base, and Bobby Dicker's done a great job in infield coaching and teaching that.
1-2 on Ozuna. Pops him up right side, so this will not advance the runner. Chris Davis calls. And he's got it. So one down here in the fourth, and a big out for Ubaldo Jimenez. Next Saturday, the Orioles will take on the Rays, a special 4:05 start time. Now, all fans in attendance will receive the first in this year's Player Design T-shirt series. First up, a Rock the Yard T-shirt that was designed by Zach Britton. Don't miss this instant collector's item. And come on out and enjoy a beautiful Saturday at Oriole Park for a late afternoon game. For tickets, Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD, and there is your artist. Stanton fouls it back. Giancarlo has singled a drive and a run and struck out. He became the first Marlin to lead the National League in home runs last year when he hit 37 to lead the league. Up and in. You see, where's that protective piece on his helmet after being hit in the face last year, September the 11th?
Yeah, Mike Fiers, the right-handed pitcher from Milwaukee.
Doesn't chase, 2-1.
Until you actually stand by him, you don't realize how big Giancarlo Stanton is. Three-sport star, very much like Dave Winfield. He's that stature. Of course, Dave ended up in the Hall of Fame.
And a foul ball down the line. That ball was scorched.
And he really has it's not, and you mentioned the strikeouts, he will strike out. But don't you, I mean, it's one of these guys where when you have the pitchers meetings, they usually come, the really good hitters, it's up and in, down and away. You're not there. He hits it real hard.
Well, he is 6 for his last 29, and 4 of the 6 hits are home runs. He's out of Sherman Oaks, California, where he went to Notre Dame High School. Outside, ball 3. Ubaldo's certainly not as sharp as we've seen him. .3-3 on the year, all 3 wins at Camden Yards, where his ERA is 1.29 at home. And he got him. Came upstairs with a fastball, and Stanton swings through it.
Yeah, the ability, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the windup. It's better than last year, but he gets him to chase. Close enough. See Stanton a little bit frustrated because he chases the ball out of his own, but it is up and away, and it is on the corner.
2 down. Here's Prado.
And you go from a guy that's more of a free swinger with incredible power to a contact hitter.
Already tried to sneak in behind Gordon, and Gordon ran into him on the base and said, "Hey, it's my base."
Well, he just dipped under 400 for the season. That's how good a start Deke Gordon had. I said, "What's it like hitting 400?" He said, "It's hard." I said, "For 2 months almost."
Yeah, he was 1 for his last 16 coming into this game. That dropped his average from 420 to 386 coming in, and he's 1 for 3 tonight. Pitch count mounting here in the 4th inning for Ubaldo. And then a ground ball weakly at the short. Gordon tries to bother Hardy. That's not going to happen. And JJ gets it to first. That ends the inning. So 4 batters come up. Ubaldo strikes out 2. We'll head to the 5th. 3-0 Miami. You be the judge. Brewers reliever Will Smith. He was ejected for using a foreign substance in a game against the Braves. And Braves first baseman Freddie Freeman said, well, every pitcher does it as a hitter. You want them to do it so they have a better grip so we don't get hit in the head, but just hide it better next time.
Well, that's the point. I mean, he was a left-handed pitcher, and it was just lumped, kind of like Pineda last year. where he had, I mean, you could see Brown and they'd already caught him or they thought he might have it. And I wonder if anybody in Atlanta uses it.
Well, they better be on the lookout now, because now every team that plays the Braves, since they called out another player.
And I think that's what Freddie Freeman was saying too. I think most managers, I think everybody does it for a little bit better grip. And
Diaz a foul, 1-1.
I mean, I pitched in an era where I pitched against Gaylord Perry, who's in the Hall of Fame, marvelous pitcher. And you'd go out to get the mound because they didn't throw it out every inning, and there'd be 2 big smudge marks on there. And you throw it to the umpire, and then they just kind of laugh and throw you another ball. Just the way it was.
Lower third of the Orioles lineup, and Diaz to left field. That'll fall for a leadoff single. Second straight inning, the Orioles have had the leadoff man on. They're trying to get back in this game in the 5th.
Well, now all of a sudden maybe the bullpen will get up because of the scoreboard as you get into the pitcher's spot. And this is really what National League ball is all about. And a lot, of course, that'll predicate on what Caleb Joseph does.
Well, here's Caleb. That's a bloop towards right center field, and that's going to fall in for a base hit. Stanton tried to deke Diaz into thinking he would get it, and as a result, it almost skipped past him. He was fortunate to knock that down. So Caleb has a base hit, and the first 2 have reached here in the 5th.
Yeah, both of the hitters. Diaz goes the other way, right here inside. Yeah, Caleb Joseph got in a bad rut, looping the bat a little bit lately. That's changed. Really working hard, and it pays off right there. Stanton can't catch it, keeps it in front of him, and you are going to get yourself a pinch hitter here.
Delman Young will come off the bench representing the tying run. 2 on and none out. And he'll look it over inside, 1-0.
I'm telling you, Alvarez is going to hang one of those sliders. He got away the one with the bases loaded to Hardy. You know, it's up a little bit, but a lot of times you get away with mistakes. JJ skied it to center.
And a good take, 2-0. Tyler Wilson getting loose in the Orioles bullpen. He was the only pitcher in the bullpen that did not pitch yesterday. Another good chance for the O's here to try to get to Alvarez.
Chase ball 3. And come off the bench, you're aggressive. We all know that's how Delman Young hits. He attacks the ball. Not too many tentative swings from Delman.
No. He's got a 3-game hitting streak going. Ball 3.
So you can see, and he really has not thrown that many fastballs, but 93. Real Muto almost got by him and had so much late life.
Alvarez wants the signs started over. High fly ball to center field. This chases Ozuna way out there. It's over his head, and it's going to bang against the wall. Diaz is being sent. Joseph will be held at third, and Delman Young is in at second with a pinch hit RBI double. Here come the O's in the 5th.
I'll tell you, Caleb Joseph got such a good read that if Diaz had gotten the same read, he would have scored. He almost caught him. And maybe a little better angle because he's coming from first, and so that ball is belted. We told you that's probably about 415 to this part of center field, and Ozuna can't get it. And because of the scoreboard, which is now 3-1, Bobby Dickerson holds up Caleb Joseph at third base.
Chuck Hernandez out for a chat.
Still nobody out, so you're not getting somebody with Manny Machado coming up, getting thrown out at home plate.
Delman Young there was yelling over to Wayne Kirby at first base. There's Brad Hand, one of the 2 lefties in the 7-man Marlin bullpen. So here's Machado. The tying runs are in scoring position, and nobody out here in the 5th. 3 straight hits for the Orioles. And fouled back this way, 0-1. Now Manny, through age 22, most home runs by third baseman at this age, tied with Chavez and Ken Kelton at 39.
Amazing number, because Killebrew ended up with what, 548 or somewhere in that range. A Hall of Fame number.
Ground ball to short, a rumble score. Echeverria will play it across to first. It's scooped on the back end by Justin Bour. So it's an RBI ground out for Manny, and it's a one-run game. That express stat was brought to you by Express Care, a LifeBridge health partner. For locations, visit whywaitintheer.com.
Yeah, Henderson Alvarez actually makes a good pitch because he makes him pull the ball. You hit 2 ground balls to the right side. Number 1, you get a run in. Number 2, you get the runner over. Manny couldn't do that, but does get the RBI, and the Orioles crawl within 1.
And still only 1 out in the inning, and here's their hottest hitter coming to the plate, and Jimmy Paredes. And he'll take a strike.
See, that's a changeup, 88-mile-per-hour changeup.
Jimmy singled in the first, bounced into a fielder's choice in the 4th. Delman Young at second. He's the tying run. Now back 0-2. The Orioles yesterday won a game in which they were out hit. Seattle out hit them 10-6. First time all year that's happened.
But they go 3 for 15 with runners in scoring position, something like that, the Mariners.
0-2 on Paredes. Strike 3 called.
Yeah. There's your late life. You talked about the fact he doesn't strike very many people out. Certainly got to get excited about this if you're a Marlin fan. 93, late life. He gives up on it, and he gets his second strikeout. Probably the biggest of the night.
So 2 down now. Here's Adam Jones, who singled his last at bat, ripped it in the left field past Prado. He's 1 out of 2. Orioles back in it with 2 runs here in the 5th. It's a 1-run game. Center field, Azuna's there, and he will squeeze it for the final out. So the Orioles settle for the 2, but it gets him back in the game. They strand Young at second. Mid-5th, brand new game, 3-2 Marlins.
Here in Miami, the board down on strikes. There's a kind of a high slider. Stanton swings through it. That ball gets away. Ball bounces via a wild pitch, and then again another fast. But again, a couple of early runs, 1 and then 2 more, and the Marlins lead at 3-2. There you go. 4 innings pitched, 7 hits. Really not very wild. It wasn't even wild in the strike zone. They just did a good job of getting some hits, and your AT&T call the bullpen. AT&T, proud partner of the Baltimore Orioles. AT&T, mobilizing your world. Tyler Wilson got it out of the way. Boy, I talked to him today. I said, "You look a little nervous." He said, "Grip pressure." You know, you like to have a nice light grip pressure. He said, "Didn't quite have that the other night." But he said, "I did want to throw strikes," and I will say that he did.
Yep.
Velocity maybe not what we saw in spring training, and again the quality of pitches kind of the same thing.
Here's Bohr, the first baseman, takes high. Bohr is 0 for 2. He was robbed of a possible base hit in the third. Nice sliding catch by Snyder in left field.
Yeah, that's what he was able to do, and you know, a lot of pitches in the middle of the plate. He's not overpowering, but everybody I've talked to, especially in the spring training, maybe the velocity was up a little bit. It's come down a couple of ticks as the season progressed. But he has a good curveball. There it is right there. And that was a good one. The ones in his debut were up a little bit and were hit hard. But again, it was his debut.
Gets ahead of Bohr, 1-2. It's upstairs. Well, Tyler Wilson attended the University of Virginia. And Bohr at the plate, George Mason University in Fairfax, Virginia. 2-2 the count. And pulled off the glove of Davis. Covering is Wilson, and out at first base is Bohr. Harry Hill, the first base coach, is signaling to the bench he would like this reviewed. Good hustle all around, and we'll see what they decide to do. Dan Jennings, the new skipper.
Yeah, Tyler a little late in getting there. He breaks, but so a nice effort by Chris Davis to knock the ball down. Yeah, the earlier you get it, the better chance of getting a quicker throw and maybe to some degree a more accurate throw.
They decided not to challenge.
So there's the high throw, and
I guess the till was down.
Yep.
That's what Jordan Baker saw at first base. Here's Realmuto, the catcher. Cute foul the other way as Justin Bohr just came off the field. Ichiro Suzuki, who's now in the on-deck circle, called him over. I said, "What's the kid got?" They've never seen him before.
Well, he's got better command than he did in his major league debut, I'll tell you that. And that's what really Tyler Wilson's about.
Popped him up. Shallow right center. Who's it going to be? Adam Jones calls off Diaz. And the quarterback out there has it. 2 away. Diaz is saying, "Come on, man, that's my ball. Let me have one." Doesn't work this way on this team.
Just get out of the way.
Anything number 10 gets to, it's his.
Well, it's a little different, but when Jim Cott was on his way to 16 consecutive Gold Gloves and a ball was popped up, he would call the guy off and grab the other guy and get him out of the way. That's how he took charge, and that's usually, and Adam was in charge there. But as a right fielder on a routine fly ball, just skedaddle.
Outside to Suzuki, so 2-0. Tyler Wilson had a good year going for AAA Norfolk. 3.43 ERA over 7 starts. Upstairs, ball 3. Of course, last year he was the Jim Palmer minor league pitcher of the year. Led all the minor leaguers with 14 wins and 157 strikeouts. There's a strike as Suzuki took all the way. First 2 retired here. The Marlins have not gone in order once in this game. Slap foul, 3-2.
Now the ability to command the ball, and that's really what pitching's all about. And we're in the lunchroom in Baltimore, the press room, and Hank Allen, brother of Richie Allen, scouts for Houston, he said, "This kid Tyler Wilson's going to help the Orioles before the year's over. And that's before he was called up. Because he's seen him pitch. And he was very, very impressed.
Strike 3 called. Suzuki thought he had ball 4, may have been fooled by the pitch, and Tyler Wilson has a 3-up, 3-down inning in the 5th.
To stand 40th RBI of the year. Pete Gordon who singled and stole a couple of bases, and then the Orioles trying to stay in the game down 3-0. Travis Snyder, Dustin Bohr looking for a base hit. Not happening. And then Delman Young, 10 for 20 last year, pinch hits. And the Orioles score their first run. Diaz are coming around. Eventually will score the second run. And then Tyler Wilson coming in. Those are our Geico game highlights. 15 minutes could save you more than 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
So we go to the 6th with the Orioles down by a run. Here's Chris Davis taking ball 1 leading off. Snyder and Hardy will follow. A foul off his foot. 5-man bench for the Orioles tonight with no DH. And Everth Cabrera is one of those on the bench. He was activated from the DL today. Ray Navarro sent back to AAA. Buck Showalter said Ray will travel back to Baltimore tonight, and then tomorrow travel to Norfolk and hopefully in the lineup on Sunday for the Tigers. I would expect that Navarro will play a lot of second base at AAA so he could get more accustomed defensively at second base. In the Cincinnati organization, he played more at shortstop. But with number 2 here, unless it's a day off, he's not going to play.
Well, Cabrera played short with Hardy's shoulder injury, and then Scope and Flaherty working their way back. Anticipated to be back, especially Ryan. Hopefully he will not have another relapse.
He DH'd in a game, but Buck said the next game he plays, he will play in the field. And Scope is doing well as well. High fly ball right field down the line, hooking and foul.
Yeah, well, Chris learned his lesson in this ballpark. We kind of did our early preview about the maybe quirky nature of some of this, and one of it is you got a lot of room, center field. And, I mean, the ball that Delman Young would have been a home run in Baltimore. Chris Davis's would have been a home run in Baltimore, but we're playing in Miami. And a lot of times you pitch to that. There's another changeup, so he walks him.
Well, what a great at-bat. That is the second walk, and the Orioles get the leadoff man on for a 3rd consecutive inning. Well, this past February, the Orioles served as the mission engagement chair of the American Heart Association's 2015 Baltimore Heart Ball. Together, the Orioles and the event chair SunTrust helped raise more than $679,000 for cardiovascular disease research, education programs, and advocacy efforts. Now, to learn more about the event or how you can help try to fight heart disease, visit Orioles.com/AHA. Tying run is on, nobody down. Travis Snyder takes ball 1. Travis worked to walk his last at bat. That loaded the bases in the 4th, but Alvarez then got Hardy to end the inning. Outside, ball 2. Steve Cishek, the former closer, 4 blown saves. Now they work where needed elsewhere. He's loose.
Yeah, he's a machine. He pitched for a while yesterday.
Lowest run support per 9 innings, and this is not a list if you're a starter you like to be on. Evaldi, the Yankees, has the worst. Then Henderson Alvarez, Eric Stoltz, Andrew Cashner. And they've gotten exactly 3 for him tonight.
Right, but he gives you an idea of how well he pitched last year. To get that kind of low run support, it'd still go 12-7. And Chuck Hernandez saying, boy, he's getting himself into these counts you don't like to see. I mean, you never know. You just don't know. Travis Snyder may be swinging here. And he walked him.
4-pitch walk, back-to-back walks, and 2 on with none out for the Orioles, and that pushes the tying run the scoring position and the go-ahead run the first. And Dan Jennings getting itchy on that dugout step.
Well, you have to remember also, I mean, Tucker, you're looking at a guy that's coming off shoulder injury, and his last start was not a good one, as you talked about. 5 1/3 with 9 hits, 6 runs.
So Dan Jennings electing not to remove him, sends his pitching coach out to chat with him.
Well, what's frustrating for all is just nothing happens when you walk people.
And Alvarez usually doesn't do that. He walked 3 total in his first 3 starts. He's walked 3 here tonight.
But you kind of wonder about his conditioning because of the arm injury. He missed a lot of times. He went about 35 days between starts. I'm sure there was some rehab in there.
So what he's looking for is one of those ground balls that might be a double play. He's thrown 7 ground ball outs in this game.
Well, we've seen J.J. Hardy bunt in the past.
And he does square, pulls it back. So at a minimum now, Jimmy's put the thought in the Marlins' minds that he may in fact go through with this.
Well, they'll play in Bohr in at first and Prado in at third, and they're now on the grass, and certainly does open up some holes when your defense comes in and plays that shallow.
He was going to show bunt again and did, and pulled it back. So Davis walked on a 3-1 pitch, Snyder on 4 pitches. Now he's 2-0 on Hardy. Tying run at second and Davis, go ahead run at first in Snyder.
Yeah, threw him 2 back-to-back sliders, which is really not a bad pitch to throw. Number 1 to J.J. Hardy, and number 2 in a bunting situation. It's just harder to keep the bat angle the way you want, where the head's higher than the handle.
Squares again and takes it low.
This gives you an idea of how gifted a player J.J. Hardy. Now, none of those pitches are close, but if you don't really feel comfortable bunting, and the reason I said earlier before you came up, we've seen him bunt, is because he's a home run guy that can bunt.
Right.
How many people can you say that about? So when the ball is close, he just takes, it's out of the zone. He does, and there's another one that, one of those borderline pitches.
Well, that one he showed bunt just to take a strike, and it did in fact get in there, and the sarcastic applause from the fans for throwing a strike.
Well, you have a lot of options here. I mean, you can look fastball. He's got to throw a strike or he'll walk the bases loaded.
And he bunted at it and fouled it straight down.
And I take it all back because he didn't get the bat head out that time. I'm only kidding, of course, but what you try to do, and if you don't bunt a lot, is the bat actually has to be out in front of home plate, and if it's back a little bit, if you bunt the ball straight down, what's it hit? It hits the plate. So not only does really the barrel, the bat have to be higher, and it's almost like you're going on an elevator. If the ball's low, you bend with your knees.
He bunts on a 3-2 pitch. Alvarez going to third, and he overthrows down the left field line. Here's Davis to score the tying run. Snyder is held at third, and in at second is J.J. Hardy. We are tied at 3 on an errant throw by Henderson Alvarez.
Well, you know, last night they couldn't get balls out of gloves. Latos, he had a problem, and right here he does everything right except he drops his elbow and guns it over Prado's head. Not a great bunt, but it is 3-2, and then he heaves it. A huge break. There's your tying run, and then now all of a sudden tremendous pressure on the Marlins defense. And
a good decision there by Bobby Dickerson with nobody down to hold Snyder. Suzuki got to that ball quickly. And now with first base open, Alejandro Diaz will be walked intentionally, not only to set up a double play, but to set up a force at the plate. So this will be the third walk in the inning and the fourth in the game for Henderson Alvarez. Caleb Joseph is on deck. Will it be against Alvarez or against Cishek?
Well, Cishek, a ground ball pitcher, you know, sinker slider guy. But he's had command. The games that I've seen, he's had command with his fastball. Breaking ball much more of a trustworthy pitch. Yeah, and they are going to make the change.
Let's see if they do a double switch or not. Dan Jennings first went to home plate umpire Paul Emmel. So Jennings comes on, and he'll remove Alvarez, who had a 3-0 lead going to the fifth. Orioles got 2 back in the fifth, stranded 1. They've tied here on the throwing error. Bases loaded, nobody out in the sixth.
He's been their closer until he struggled. I think he's got already 4 blown saves this year. So he comes in, you're looking for a ground ball.
4 blown saves, and this is one of those situations your Buck talked about quite a bit. This could be a save in the 6th inning if he can minimize the damage here. It is a tie game, but the Orioles have the bases loaded and nobody out.
In the last 2 years, 43 saves and 36. And what happens when we talk about it all the time, you struggle a little bit, home along from year to year. He's always done a terrific job. And then all of a sudden, club's not playing well. You're not pitching up to your capabilities. And instead of trying easier, you try harder. Grip pressure goes up. But when I watched him, he really does trust the breaking ball more than his sinker. And he's got a good one. It just hasn't been thrown at for quality strikes.
So he'll go to work on Caleb Joseph. Snyder's at third. Hardy is at second. Diaz is at first. And the Orioles with a chance for their first lead in this game in the 6th. And the pitch outside, 1-0. Well, the Orioles certainly have been a balanced team. And you talk about game-winning RBIs. The Orioles have 11 different players with at least 1 game-winning RBI. Tied for second most behind the Tigers and the Cubs. Outstanding. And there's a strike. And here's the list of players who have driven in game-winning runs. Jones has done it 3 times. Snyder 3 times. Caleb is at the plate a couple of times. Manny a couple of times. 7 others with 1. And that's in 18 wins on the year. So tremendous balance. Caleb thought it was low. Call goes against him, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, last year 74 on the ground, 45 in the air. Already you can see 24 and 19. So more balls hit in the air. But he's right where he wants to be, where he's got a good breaking ball, and there it is. But it didn't even start close to the plate. So if you're Caleb, he's really the one in trouble, and you want to use the middle of the field. Let the ball travel. The ability, I mean, Caleb could hit the ball to right. He can hit it up the middle.
Behind Wayne Kirby for a foul ball.
And that's fine. I mean, you're in a defensive position in the sense that you're going to just try to make contact here. You've talked about it all night. Very fast infield. Moore in at first.
2-2. Bases loaded, none down. And a base hit to center field for Caleb Joseph. It came through. Snyder scores. Here's Hardy to score. A 2-run single for Joseph, and the O's have the lead. They have come back from 3-0 down. What a big base hit for Caleb Joseph.
Well, he used the middle of the field, and he gets a pitch to hit. Cishek, he can't be happy with this pitch. I mean, it's pretty much right down the middle. And again, didn't get the breaking ball over. And what does Caleb do? I mean, he's really worked hard on shortening his swing. That started at spring training, and there's an example of it. And I'm just kind of wondering, into 6th inning, you're walking the bases loaded, putting an extra runner on to set up a double play.
And here is Tyler Wilson. He'll be asked to sacrifice. Gets it down foul. That ball rode in on him.
Yeah, now, I think if you had a fresher bullpen, this may not be happening.
You know, it just shows you how Buck Showalter prepares for anything. The other day on Wednesday, the pitchers who were going to start in this series were taking batting practice because of the interleague. And there was one other pitcher out there, and it was Tyler Wilson. And I thought it was a little odd that a pitcher who wasn't scheduled to start, but now you see why. Because he's the first pitcher to come in, and if he's going to stay in the game, he's going to have to bat at least once, and he fouls it off.
So this is the advantage. We talked about it earlier. Henderson Alvarez gets a base hit. You just don't do this very often, and again, this is a submarine. Makes it even more difficult.
So he fouls off 2 bunt attempts.
I mean, I hope he gets him over. I hope he makes a good bunt. The chances are very low, but if he doesn't, at least you won't get a force at third. He won't be a base runner.
Gets it down. Cishek will go to first, and he gets it there to D. Gordon. There's a successful sacrifice bunt, and he is going to get some high fives on the bench. What a job!
I would imagine.
Everybody up on the bench. That's great.
It's like getting a hit.
So the first out in the inning. And Tyler Wilson, Jim, right now is the pitcher of record in a winning game.
It's early, Jim.
Just saying, just throwing it out there for.
And they're going to bring their infield in because of the situation now.
Manny takes inside.
I mean, just try to get the bat head out. I mean, kind of a jab stroke, but it worked.
Good breaking ball. I remember when I was a kid, Phil Rizzuto used to talk about bunting, and he said just catch the ball with the bat. He sort of did that. Sort of.
No.
Except for the.
Well, Phil did. Tyler, no.
He caught it by jabbing.
What's all right. He got it done.
He did. 2-1 on Manny, who is 1 out of 3. Also has an RBI and a ground out.
That was a golf bunt. They don't say how, they go how many. What did you get on the hole?
Foul back, another breaking ball, 2-2.
Yeah, hard throwing Brian Morris. The Orioles saw him when they went to Pittsburgh last year. Didn't get it up there. Boy, big at bat right here. Good swing there.
Fouled off, got a piece of either the catcher or the umpire, Paul Emmel. Neither seems to be upset about it. Manny now with a 5-game hitting streak. And he's got Diaz at third and Joseph at second with 1 out. And he chased the pitch outside. What a good breaking ball for strike 3. Machado down on strikes and 2 away.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, unless you really look at the numbers, Steve Cishek has just been outstanding. I mean, last year, when you talk about save opportunities, 39 out of 43. The year before, 34 out of 36. And that's why, right there, he made that kind of pitch. This year, again, from what I've seen, it's just pretty much, and we saw it against Caleb Joseph, the fastball command, not where it has been in years past.
Paredes swings through a breaking ball, trying to time it at 80 miles an hour, and he swung through it. 565 with runners in scoring position to lead all of Major League Baseball for Jimmy Paredes. He has 1 hit and 3 trips tonight. Tried to get in the chase again. This time he laid off. Jimmy now has base hits, Jim, in 25 of the 28 games as Henderson Alvarez looks on dejectedly from the bench. Ground ball off the glove of Cishek. This is going to be trouble, and no play, and a run scores. Diaz crosses the plate. He knocked it down, but it ricocheted back of the mound. And by the time he got it, Paredes always hustles. We've learned that. And the Orioles get another run.
Well, you make a good pitch and then you become a defender. I mean, look where Echeverria is playing. He probably catches that ball. And because he's going to his left and then you knock it down, your first reflex, keep it in the infield. But there's a judge, and sometimes it's hard to do, that how hard the ball is hit.
So it is a 4-run inning and a 6-3 Orioles lead.
And again, the frustration of this Marlin team is everybody wants to do so well because things are. I mean, this inning's a perfect example. Your starter goes out there. He hasn't been wild. He walks the first 2 guys.
And Cishek is going to leave.
Yeah. I wonder if that ball hit him in the hand.
So Alvarez looking on. Paredes is on at first. And a pitching change as Brian Morris comes on in the 6th.
Last year for a compensation draft. Hard thrower, 95, 96 miles per hour, curveball, cutter to go with it. Take a look at our Jiffy Lube pitching change. It's time for a little relief for your car too. Visit Jiffy Lube for regular oil changes and help prevent damage and wear to your engine. Jiffy Lube, drive in today. So the fastball, I mean that's a fastball, and then also the cutter. So the velocity's well into the 90s. Not a lot of innings, but we saw last year he's got a power arm, but he can get a little bit wild. And that's where you get the 9 walks. And righties hitting him better than lefties.
Caleb Joseph is at third. Paredes with his RBI single. That was ruled a single by the official score off of Cishek. And here's Adam Jones. The Orioles had batted around. And a strike.
Yeah, that's kind of like the backdoor slider cutter. Not sure it was on purpose, but caught the strike zone. Well, you know, that pitch, Jim, is all about movement. You cut it a little bit. Hope the hitter will give up on it, and Adam did. That's the cutter, 91 miles per hour. He's got a real good arm.
It has been a struggle for the Marlins, and this is a 4-run inning. One and one on Jones, 2 on and 2 out. Weekly hit to second base. D. Gordon to his left. He'll get Jones, and that will end the inning. But the Orioles send 9 men to the plate and score 4. A couple of big base hits. Will head to the bottom of the 6th. The O's now in front. Marlins got off to an early lead. Ubaldo Jimenez kept them in the game. 3 runs through 4 innings, and then the Birds began their comeback after that strikeout of Stanton. Piazza coming around. Nice play by Tyler Wilson to get an out at first base, and then a strikeout as the Orioles and Miami Marlins playing interleague baseball. The Orioles' first ever visit here to this ballpark. And against the Marlins, the Orioles are just 6-18.
What are they, 1-11 in Miami? Not at this park, but
right.
I think collectively.
Remember, the first year of interleague, the Orioles were in a pennant race, and they didn't come here, the Birds, until September. And they played at the old stadium. And in that stadium, because it was multi-purpose for football and baseball, the roof of the visiting dugout actually was removable. And I guess they didn't put it on correctly, and in the middle of a game, it fell. And Richie Mansel's remembered it. And Richie said he was sitting by Roberto Alomar and Scott Kamenicki, and they all almost got hit, but fortunately they got out of the way because Alomar yelled and they moved. But that was one of the nuances of that other ballpark, which was built for football, and they said, well, spent a lot of money on this, maybe the Marlins can come in here.
Yeah, originally your broadcasting booth was the football broadcasting booth. You were on the 30-yard line, and home plate was way to the left. And there's a... Yeah.
A 2-1 the count on Echeverria. In the pitcher spot due, and then D. Gordon. And a base hit to right field off the bat of Echeverria, who's 3 for 3.
Well, you can see why they tried to stay away from the fastball, and a couple of curveballs to get to 2-0, and then this is what he can do.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Orioles. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Is that a traveling Cal Ripken Jr. bobblehead? Explain. There's Michael Morris pinch hitting.
Yeah, really struggling, and they expected him to do what he did for the Giants last year. the World Championship team.
This ball sliced to right field. That's trouble for Diaza, and it's in there for a base hit. It's going to go all the way to the wall. Echeverria easily is going to score, and there's a pinch double for Michael Morse, and it's a 2-run game. So the Marlins not going down quietly.
Well, yeah, and they got a lot of time to do it. You got that big inning, and then it's all about are you able to shut them down. And again, the target's away. This is a young pitcher. He misses in. You get unlucky, and that's exactly what that is. Didn't hit it well, but just found a hole. But part of it here in this ballpark is not hitting pop-ups and somehow hitting, even if it's a soft line drive because of how big the place is. So now all of a sudden, let's see how D. Gordon plays it. You're only down by 2, and is he going to try to get him over?
A 6-4 game. Echeverria 3 singles, and he has now scored twice. And the number 9 spot in the Marlins lineup has 2 of the 4 RBIs. Alvarez, the pitcher, has the others. Ground ball, and that is a base hit into right field. It had eyes. Got by Chris Davis, and then got by Paredes. So D. Gordon has his second base hit, his 19th multi-hit game, and 3 straight hits here in the 6th.
Yeah, a little change up, and because you're playing in, because there's ability to bunt, you don't think speed is difficult to combat. Just look at that. It's a pretty routine ball for a guy that can't run, but he can. So a 3-1 fastball to Echeverria, and kind of that's what he does. He hits that into right, and then he gets unlucky to Morris, and then right there, not a bad pitch, but because of the speed.
So we're going to get a pitching change here as Tyler Wilson will leave. Tommy Hunter's coming on for the O's in the 6th.
Cano would go on to win that game. So fastball anywhere from 95 to 98. Two-seamer. Numbers not quite as good at this point as last year. Doesn't walk a whole lot of people. 3 and 16 in the 3rd innings. And lefties this year a little bit over 300. So he comes in and there's work cut out. Got the tying run over it with tremendous speed at first. He holds runners well, but you have right into pretty much the heart of their order with Ozuna, their number 2 hitter, hitting.
And D. Gordon at first has 3 steals on the night. Wonder how long he'll be at first before he attempts to get the second. Ozuna's up. He is 0 for 3 with an RBI ground out. Tommy immediately pays a calling call.
Well, when you have speed at first, and I learned this against Kansas City when they had Willie Wilson, they had Amos Otis, Al Count, had a lot of guys that could really run. The deeper you go in the count, better chance they have of stealing a base. You have to be aggressive early.
Down and away, 1-0.
A lot of times, even Tommy's come up with a pretty good two-seam fastball, but he's a fly ball pitcher. But the two-seamer can get a ground ball, and if you do it early in the count, maybe even if you give up the 5th run, you get a double play. Because you're looking for outs here.
Gordon bluff going, or maybe he slipped and stopped. Meantime, it's 2-0 on Osuna. 7 of 11 have been stranded for Tommy Hunter. Very good percentage.
And the one thing, Ubaldo did pitch in and out of trouble, but he kept the runs to a minimum.
Gordon runs, pitch is taken for a strike, throw through, he is safe again.
Wow.
Oh, that looked close.
Yeah, well, they've all been close. Caleb Joseph has really made some outstanding throws. But this guy can do it. You said he led the National League in steals, over 60 stolen bases last year. I mean, this is a bullet, but he's well in.
Oh, yeah.
And Paredes doesn't present the tag like some of the normal second basemen the Orioles usually put out there. I'm not sure it would have mattered.
So the tying run is now in scoring position with blazing speed. 4th steal in the game, 16th on the year for D. Gordon. Billy Hamilton of the Reds had 17 to begin the night to lead the National League. And he got him on an off-speed pitch. What a huge out for Tommy Hunter. He got Osuna to chase.
It's pretty impressive. You need a strikeout and you get it. Well, you have your scouting meetings and you go, okay, can the guy hit a fastball? Can he hit a slider? You go, well, pretty good fastball hitter. Let's throw him sliders. And when you do, the guys that pitch well are the ones that get it over, and they make good pitches. That was perfect.
There's Giancarlo Stanton takes outside. Now first base is open, but Stanton at the plate is the go-ahead run. So Hunter going after him. Stanton is 0 for 3 against Tommy in the brief appearances against each other between the Orioles and the Marlins. Breaking ball for a strike, so they don't look for that. Now this, Jim, is the ultimate matchup. Arguably the best power hitter in the game at the plate against a power pitcher who gives up fly balls.
Well, I'm getting depressed right just thinking about that, but not there. I don't know if anybody hit that little strike zone they have in Sarasota in spring training better than Tommy Hunter. And Buck Showalter was saying today, Dom Sheedy, the bullpen pitching coach, and Tommy had a little discussion yesterday. 45.
Popped up. Chris Davis has a play, chased a pitch. There's a second out. And the runners have to hold.
Tommy Hunter has immense talent. He throws the ball well. He's got a good breaking ball. He's athletic. And I think Sheedy probably, from what Buck was saying, I mean, he was kind of watching him talk. Probably telling him, hey, let's get back to where you were last year, which was terrific. I mean, he was a big part of the '96 wins. So he makes a great pitch to Ozuna. Right there, you get the guy leading the National League in RBIs. Already won tonight. Made another one. Now this guy is a little bit even tougher in the sense because he's a contact hitter.
Right.
And he's a high ball hitter.
Bouncer towards the hole. Diving stop by Machado. He gets up and he got him at first base. And the inning is over. Tommy Hunter comes on and he strands the 2 runners on, and the Orioles hold the lead as Machado into the dive and a strong arm to get his man. DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. You can enter the promo code TRIPLEPLAY for your free entry. And by your local Mercedes dealership. Lovely night in downtown Miami. And a lot of Oriole fans here tonight. We see quite a bit of orange in the stands. Again, a sparse crowd here, but many Orioles fans. And here's Brad Hand, Jim, the lefty, to come on.
Well, he worked his way right up the minor league level last year. 32 games, 16 starting, 16 out of the bullpen. So again, one of these guys that you could see from the pitch mix: breaking ball, fastball, and changeup. See right-handers hitting him a lot better than the lefties. And, of course, one of the reasons you bring him in, Chris Davis, a lefty, starting it off.
And it bends out of the way, and it bends in there for a strike. Davis got the rally going in the 6th by drawing a leadoff walk. And that one bounces away. The Orioles came into this game tied for the fewest sacrifice bunts in the American League. And a roller foul. They are very much the play for the big inning team, and they do that. The Rays and the Orioles with the fewest sacrifice bunts coming in.
Really, the Rays and
the Orioles had only 4, and they had 2 in the 6th inning, helping the rally. Of course, the throwing error helped more. Davis to left field, moving in on it, and now down on his knees is Suzuki. Well, saying his prayers that it didn't sail over his head, and it didn't.
Well, let's talk about the Gold Gloves he won. And right there, just making sure. I don't know if it was in the lights. Either way, he nestles it into his uni.
Travis Snider now, he drew a walk and scored in the 6th inning rally.
Yeah, Hand, he could get his fastball, average fastballs around 93 miles per hour. And right there, that one at 94.
Prior to tonight, the only Oriole who had faced him was Everett Cabrera. Davis has an at-bat against him. And a cue ball foul, third base side, 0-2. Brad Hand, born in Minneapolis. He's been in the Marlins organization since 2008.
Yeah, second round draft choice, and got all the innings. Learned how to pitch. You can see right there, almost jumps at Travis Snider and gets to 94.
And the 1-2 check swing. An appeal to third. He did not go. Andy Fletcher said he checked in time. So from 0-2 to 2-2 on Snider. And he got him. So a strikeout of Travis Snider for the second out. Hand has held lefties, give him the .216 average coming in.
Well, he's got good stuff. And he just throws it out of the zone, but close enough. I mean, that's so much part of pitching, and we saw it yesterday. Again, it was a miserable day to really to pitch in Baltimore because of the rain and whatever. But there were a lot of pitches thrown, not even going to entice hitters to swing at them, just weren't close enough. If a ball's a ball out of your hand, it's a wasted pitch.
J.J. Hardy now. Righties are hitting .333 against Hand. And he bounces that one in there. 2-0 on J.J. We put down a 2-strike sacrifice bunt. that Alvarez fielded and fired over the head of Prado down the left field line for a throwing error, allowing Chris Davis to score. That was the tying run. The Orioles then added 3 more, now have a 6-4 lead.
Yeah, if you ever talk about a starting pitcher imploding, he walks 2 and then ends up, when you finally give him an out, heaving it down the line. As it turned out, the Orioles do put 4 on the board, and that's the difference of the game to this point.
And because of what happened following that throw, all of the runs earned. Slow bouncer past the mound, charging Echeverria. And he guns it to first, so Hand comes on and has a 3-up, 3-down inning. 7th inning stretch in Miami, the Orioles with a 6-4 lead. Out, O's down by a run. J.J. Hardy lays down a 2-strike sacrifice bunt, but Henderson Alvarez airmails it. It goes over the head of Martin Prado all the way down the line. Davis scores the tying run, and the Orioles were on their way to a 4-run top of the 6th inning to get the lead. A lead they now have at 6-4, and they have a lot of fans here tonight. A lot of fans from Baltimore coming on down. They are enjoying themselves. Tommy Hunter for a 2nd inning of work. And the fastball's upstairs to Justin Bour.
He had 24 pitches yesterday. So we'll see.
Well, he pitched the night before, 1 batter, but he did pitch. You usually don't see Buck Hughes relievers 3 days in a row. This ball's pulled down the line, and it's going to hook back and foul. But the circumstances of yesterday, he really had no choice because Chris Tillman had worked only 3 innings prior to the rain delay.
And then Brian Mattis came in to protect a 4-1 lead, and there's a good pitcher. Ooh, didn't get it. But 4-1 lead and had a 40 pitch in it. I think T.J. McFarland is certainly able to pitch today. But
bouncer towards the middle. Paredes can't get it. It's by him for a hit.
But it's like it really is playing on turf here. The ground balls, they don't slow down like some grass fields. Pretty much up the middle anyway. I'm not sure even if he catches it, he could throw him out.
Well, he's having a tough time. He was playing the pull, so the ball was hit to his right. Earlier, he was playing to his right, and they hit it to his left.
Well, that's what happens. I mean, you would think in that count, 2-1, the ball might be pulled, and he's supposed to be a pull hitter, which is why they position him where they did.
There's Realmuto, the catcher. Breaking ball for a strike. That has been such an effective pitch for Tommy to get a strike when he needs it. And he got a strikeout of Stanton, or excuse me, on Ozuna on that pitch in the 6th inning.
And then he got Stanton to pop up on the same pitch. Popped up to Chris Davis at first, down and away slider.
Comes back with it, 0-2.
Yeah, as long as you get it down, as long as you get on top of it, it has good tilt. So it becomes a strikeout ground ball pitch. At least that's the intentions. And you would love to be able to throw one pitch here and maybe get 2 outs.
Upstairs with a fastball.
And when you get a little bit tired, you keep the body where it is, stay over the pitching rubber, and you don't use your body to speed up your arm. You just actually use your arm like a whip and get it out in front.
Bouncer foul the first base side. Realmuto is 0 for 3. He has grounded out twice and he has flied out. Tommy would love a ground ball to Hardy here to get a double play if he could do it. Slow roller towards Hardy. Tommy cuts it off and fires to first to get the sure out. That was a real good play. If that ball got by him, it may have been a base hit.
Well, it is a base hit, and you have to also understand your momentum. And Tommy's a big kid and is going towards first, so he has to come back and not only catch it, then keep his balance. So right there, he gets to it. I mean, easy. And then a bullet. Real Muto was running down the line.
So second base there is Justin Bohr.
Yeah, Miami 7th in average, 8th in runs. You never know it. They're a pesky bunch.
And the bunt gets away from Caleb Joseph.
Well, you just don't see that very often. I mean, that's a breaking ball. It's not an easy pitch, but he catches it, and he will be disappointed.
Charged with a pass ball.
This is kind of the breaking ball that Cano struck out on. He just didn't catch it. Sharp breaking, got on top of it. And because of the scoreboard, they're going to play the infield back.
Strike on the corner. It's amazing Suzuki can hit with both feet moving.
But probably 5-6 years ago, they kind of did a slow motion hitting, and they compared his swing to Mickey Mantle's.
Tapper back to the mound, and they have Bohr hung up. Fires to Machado, flips to Joseph. Staying in it long enough for the runner to get to second base, and finally tagged out by Hardy. Base running mistake by Bohr there, but he does stay in the rundown long enough to allow Suzuki to get to second. 2 men are down.
Yeah, another good pitch by Tommy Hunter, another breaking ball, and so he's going to get a roller. And Bohr's coming all the way, so they made that decision. Here's a P, not a very good throw by Manny. And of course, the minute that Caleb Joseph has to jump to get it, and all of a sudden Ichiro has plenty of time to get into scoring position.
Sam Dyson is up in the bullpen. 3 relievers used already by Dan Jennings. Dave Wallace is going to come out. What they're going to discuss here possibly is with the suddenly hot hitting Adeiny Echeverria at the plate with 3 hits and first base open and a likely pinch hitter coming up. Would you rather put the tying run on and go after the pinch hitter, or do you go after Echeverria?
I'm going to roll right out of this booth if they thought about doing that. We just pitched to him. How do you want to pitch to him? You have a bullpenner coming in. He's got 3 hits, all on fastballs. You know, Tyler Wilson tried to get him out with breaking balls, missed ball 1, ball 2. Did get back in the strike zone, then hit a 3-1 fastball into right field. So this is all about how we're going to get him out. Yeah, I can't imagine that they're going to think about walking him to bring the potential go-ahead run to the plate. Because if he hits a single, he'll still be at first. And he's not a home run hitter. He's got 2 on the year. He's a high average hitter. Look at that, up to 310.
Check swing knocked down by Caleb Joseph and appeal to first. No swing, says Jordan Baker. Well, he almost got in the chase. See the outfield shallow and the infield back around as Brian Mattis just got up. You saw Buck on the phone with Don Cheedy. It was a long conversation. And Mattis now gets up. Fly ball to center field. That's playable for Adam Jones. He waits. And he's got it for the out. Tommy Hunter gets out of it. So the leadoff single, one man left. The Marlins don't score. We head to the 8th and a 2-run game. How about the sacrifice bunt by Tyler Wilson, who didn't catch it, poked at it, but got the bunt down.
That bunt's getting better every time I see it, and successful sacrifice.
Big smile.
He's still the pitcher of record, I would think, at this point.
Yes, he is.
Well, before that run was scored, I was figuring he was going to vulture it, because I thought he might pitch more than one inning, but he got in a little bit of trouble.
Vulture's okay if the team wins.
Oh, is it ever?
Here's Diaza. Hand stays on. The pitcher spot is due in the bottom of the 8th to lead off. And then D. Gordon and Ozuna will follow. We'll see how Buck Showalter plays it. Mattis was up to begin getting loose out there, but Tommy Hunter got the final out. Now it was Yelich who came out on deck. He's the only left-handed batter on the bench. They have a 5-man bench, 4 right-handed hitters. And Diaz gets ahead 2-0. Alejandro's had a good night. He has drawn an intentional walk and scored, singled and scored. He got the rally in the 5th starter with a single leading off. Orioles trailed 3-0. They got 2 that inning to make it 3-2, and then he was walked intentionally in the 6th and eventually came around the score. Fastball by him, 2-2. Orioles have won 3 of 4. And they are back to within 2 of 500 at 18-20.
Yeah, they just got to get in the habit, you know, over the next 2 months of winning series. That'll get them where they want to go.
They did win 2 of the 3 series on the homestand. They dropped 2 out of 3 to the Angels, so 5 and 4 on the homestand.
Yeah, those were just games where Weaver and Shoemaker pitched so well it was hard to score runs, but very close games.
They've actually won more series than they've lost. They're 7 and 5 with 1 split, but the problem is one of those was a 3-game sweep by the Blue Jays, and another was 3 out of 4 losing to the Yankees in New York. So there's 6 of your losses in just 2 series. 3-2 is low and a leadoff walk. Real good at bat there by Diaza. And the first walk and base runner allowed by Hand. You can follow the Orioles all season with MLB.com at bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball. At bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews. You get radio broadcasts, StatCasts, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or your tablet. There's Caleb Joseph. Orioles looking for insurance, up by 2. Now I wonder, this could be a good hit and run combination. Diaz has good speed, and Caleb really has a good stroke to right field.
I think Buck Showalter is a lot like Earl Weaver was, where not a lot of good things happen when you hit and run.
Okay.
Earl had that only one thing can happen, it'll work. And you're right if you did it a lot, or you had hitters that.
Said he asked for a sacrifice, and he offered at it and missed.
Well, that'll work too, and even not that Caleb bunts a lot.
There's Dyson again getting loose. Rock now getting loose for the O's. Mr. Pierce is on deck to pinch hit for Tommy Hunter. Throw to first. Alejandro back.
Yeah, just making it. You never know. Sometimes you throw over there because you're, not that this would be the case, but you figure maybe the guy's leaning, especially with 2 outs. Maybe they can pick him off and don't have to face the batter. Pretty big lead, though.
Got in where Caleb likes it, and he pulled it foul. Bobby Dickerson out of the way, and again flashing signs. Wayne Kirby checking over the outfielders to see where they're playing. Nothing in 2 on Caleb Joseph. Again a throw to first. Alejandro's a modest lead, but Hand is keeping an eye on him.
Well, you figure, and you talked about the fact that, you know, high draft choice in 2010, that he would have come up with a pretty good move if you're left-handed. And
in the dirt. Good take there by Caleb. 1-2. Joseph is 2 for 3 on the night. It is his 8th multi-hit game. He went 3 for 23 on the homestand, and he's 2 for 3 here tonight.
Yet all those hits came over the last couple of games.
1-2 on him. And there's another base hit. Rips it in the right center field. Diaza hustling to third. Good base running there by Alejandro.
Well, the thing, if you look at his bat, if you went back 10 days ago, the bat was looping and it was kind of the bat head. But look how quiet his hands are. He's ready to hit here. Now he also gets a good pitch to hit. 1-2 pitch, and he's not trying to pull it. And he's such a conscientious young man, and he's done. I thought Matt Wieters in his interview today, he said, listen, I want to get back to where I can catch, but right now, even if I come back and I'm going to go, if I do start doing the rehab every other day. And he said the other thing is, it's been a pleasure to watch Caleb Joseph do the job he's done behind the plate. And then when he hits, and he's been hitting, all of a sudden you get yourself a bonus.
So here's Dan Jennings out for a pitching change with the right-handed bat of Steve Pierce announced as the pinch hitter. So the Orioles, looking for insurance, have first and third, none down, leading 6-4 in the 8th. underway tomorrow night. That is 7 o'clock on Fox. And check out Sunday series finale right back here on Masson 2. Our coverage begins at 12:30 with those extra presented by Jeep. And then game coverage at 1 o'clock on both Masson 2 and WJZ. We've got all the access you need right here on Masson.
Sam Dyson, he can get it up there. Fastball, 86% of them, and fastball 95, 96, and then occasional change up at 87 miles per hour. So he's done a nice job for him the last 5 appearances. Probably the best one 4 days ago against Arizona, 2 innings, a hit and 5 strikeouts. And the Orioles are looking for runs, and the Marlins are hoping that Dyson can come in and strike out some people because they have runners at first and third, and that's what they need.
Here's Steve Pearce to pinch hit for Tommy Hunter. So Tommy goes 2 scoreless innings in relief. Outstanding job for Tommy. He allowed only 1 hit. So looking for insurance, up by 2, first and third, and nobody out. Marlins have the infield drawn in. Here's bouncer towards the hole, fielded there by Prado. He spins, he comes home, and Diaza is out.
Well, what a nice play that was.
Going on contact, and Prado made a nice play to get him.
Yeah, not only did he make the play, and then he had to spin around and make an accurate throw, and because if it's offline at all, you can say playing in to try to cut the run, and then nowhere to go.
I take that back. He wasn't going on contact.
Well, he kind of hesitated a little bit, and
so Joseph to second, and Pearce on at first on the fielder's choice. And here's Manny. Outside, 1-0. Manny has had a nice night. He's 1 for 4, but does have an RBI on a ground out. So now with a 5-game hitting streak. 17 RBIs now on the year for Manny. Good take, ball 2.
That's an easy 96 with a lot of late life. Now the count allows you to look out over the plate, take the balls in, look into a certain part of the plate, and try to put a good swing on it. That's what Manny can do. That hit was into right field.
Hard hit ball, base hit down the line, past the glove of Prado. That ball was smoked. Here's Joseph to score. Pearce is heading to third. He's being sent by Dickerson, and Machado's got a 2-run double. And the Orioles now with an 8-4 lead in the 8th.
Yeah, you can get a lot smarter when you look for your pitch, and that's exactly what he does. And the other part of the equation is he gets a good pitch to hit, and then he's swinging the bat real well. Prado could knock it down. He's a little frustrated, and because this is such a big ballpark, the minute to get it to the corner, it's 344 down the line. Here comes Steve Pearce. You can see him on top of your picture. And the Orioles get a couple more runs to make it 8-4.
So the Orioles have 10 base hits. They had just 1 base hit over the first 3 innings of the game. Those 2 runs charged to hand. You just saw they're leaning on the rail. Still only 1 down. Here's Paredes, slices it foul the other way.
And it all started with a walk. Get the matchup you want. Brad Hand left-handed, Diaza left-handed.
And Paredes swings through it.
Look at Dyson, 98.
And the 0-2 is inside. Paredes looks it over. And another fastball too tight, 96.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to throw it at his front hip and catch the inside corner, but it stayed off the plate.
So from 0-2 to 2-2 on Paredes. And a base hit to center field for Paredes. Manny had to make sure that ball didn't sail to the center fielder Ozuna, so he gets to third. Paredes has a 3-hit night. He is 3 for 5.
Yeah, I just don't think he got a very good jump, and the ball was hit so hard, I don't think he's going to even try to score anyway. Not with Adam Jones coming up. But again, it's so easy here. You know, obviously you knew the ball was up the middle, but when you're out in the field, you don't want to get doubled up, which is what you were talking about. Make the ball clear the infield. You already got a 4-run lead. You've got Jones and Davis on deck.
So he turned on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball and ripped it to center field.
Middleitis.
Yes. Adam Jones to third. Prado gloves. He'll go to first to get Jones as Paredes was quickly off, and Prado didn't want to try to risk throwing it to second base off balance. So Adams retired.
So Dyson, what, 2 base hits and 2 outs. The outs have come on the first pitch, and the base hits have come when he's gotten behind. That tells you something about what pitching, regardless of what your velocity is. 96 gets hit pretty hard. Well, if you're going to walk somebody, you might think about doing it here. Who do you want to pitch to? Chris Davis with 2 outs, or do you want to pitch to Travis Snyder?
I'd pitch to Snyder, but I'm not managing the Marlins. They're going to pitch to Davis.
Well, if he gets a hit, it's not a percentage move here.
Each team now with 11 hits. The Orioles 8-4.
Even though I will say this, Travis Snyder, even though he doesn't have as many at bats, is hitting about 29 points higher with runners in scoring position.
If the man at the plate is an RBI threat, that's one thing Travis has had a tough time of as of late. Ball on a strike. Chris is 0 for 3. He's also walked and scored. 5 for 31 on the homestand. Swings through that. Of course, the one thing the Marlins know is that Chris is a strikeout potential.
And Sam Dyson could certainly make his manager look good by doing his job, breaking ball misses.
He's certainly not nibbling. He came at him. That one just slipped out of his hand. 2-2. Orioles trail 3-0 going to the 5th. They have outscored the Marlins 8-1 since then for an 8-4 lead. All 3.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out how, after when Henderson Alvarez walked the first 2 in the 6th, threw the bunt away by Hardy, they walked Diaza in the 6th inning to load the bases, put an extra runner on. As it turned out, Caleb Joseph got a hit.
And he walked him anyway. So not intentional, but Chris does draw the walk. And Snyder will come up, the 8th Oriole to bat here in the 8th inning. Travis is 0 for 2. He has also walked twice. He has walked twice. He has struck out twice. He has scored a run, and he has not yet put the ball in play. Bases loaded, 2 down. And he fouls it back. Travis has now gone 39 official at-bats without an RBI. Last drove in a run April 23rd. He has a chance here with the bases loaded, but 2 men are out. Fouls it off again, 0-2. Dyson is the 5th pitcher used, 4th out of the bullpen. Alvarez 5 innings plus. Cishek 2/3 of an inning left after he was hit by a batted ball by Paredes. Morris 1/3 of an inning. The pitcher spot came up, so they pinch hit for him. Hand an inning, and now Dyson. Oh, 0-2 on Snyder. And a good take.
Yeah, that's really kind of odd. I mean, maybe not a lot. How many opportunities? Now you have all these numbers. The opportunities, how many has he had since he hasn't driven in a run? Probably not a whole lot of them. But one thing about Travis Snyder, and we've seen it, he does hit the ball all over the ballpark.
Yes. And he has a very good batting eye, which was one of the attributes of his game at the plate that Dan Duquette liked. Guy who could really work the count. High base percentage because he's willing to take a walk.
And the best part of his year with the Pirates last year was as the season progressed.
Yes.
And he got to play against lefties, hit close to 380.
And he strikes him out. So Snyder down on strikes. That strands the bases loaded, but the Orioles do get 2. Mid-8th in Miami, 3 RBI night for Machado. Area's #1 volume Lexus dealer, 5 years running. See why at LexusOf1000.com. And it was that pinch hit double, a monster shot off the bat of Delman Young to center field that drove in a run in the 5th inning as the Orioles got back in the game. That was the first run driven in. It was a 3-0 game before that hit. So they drive of the game, and Jim, here's Brad Brock on the pitch.
Good fastball, 93 to 95, hard slider and a power changeup. Brad will come in, and a couple of innings yesterday. Low averages, getting back on track. When he's on his game, he can make some pitches.
So Brock comes on. Kristen Yelich is going to pinch hit for the pitcher spot here. And he'll take a strike. Couple of defensive changes. David Lowe's now in the game in left field. Travis Snyder is out of the game, and Steve Pearce stays in the game at second base. Paredes is out of the game.
I see you're to prevent defense in there. Better go, because he can run.
Scooped by Davis on the back end.
Yeah, Yelich, again, a young player, won the Gold Glove. Huge contract for a second-year player. And then he hurts his back in spring training. So it really set him back. And over the next couple of games, you will probably see him play, get the night off until he pinch hit.
Here's D. Gordon. Let's see if Brad Brock can have some better luck with him. He is 2 for 4, but he's reached base 3 times in the 4th inning. Ubaldo struck him out, but the ball bounced between the legs of Caleb Joseph, and he reached on the wild pitch. He has 4 stolen bases in this game. Good idea to keep him off base.
Yeah, the Cardinals did a pretty good job against him in the playoffs last year because they had Adam Wainwright, and it's like he's a good fastball hitter, but he was able to get him out on his front foot with a breaking ball.
Go towards short. Hardy waits on it, and then guns it in the dirt again, and again scooped by Davis. So 2 scoops by Chris in this inning, 2 down.
Well, Chris Davis, very underrated as a first baseman.
Now, Mike Bordick joined us on O's Extra yesterday, talking about how the fielders try to get in the best position to throw. The Orioles do have 15 throwing errors on the year, and he brought up a point that maybe gets overlooked, and you just brought it up, is that there's somebody on the other end that has to catch the throw.
Yeah, that was I really enjoyed. You did a terrific job, and Mike was fabulous of showing, because Bobby Dickerson's been talking about that. We made bad throws, but he said Nick Markakis' one error last year was a ball that should have been stopped at home plate, and it wasn't. So and again, the Orioles did a much better job last year than so far. But I think they've been put on alert.
Yes.
And that's really, sometimes you need a wake-up call. And the good news about not playing defensively up to the standards that Buck Showalter, Bobby Dickerson, the infield instructor is that you can improve. You get plenty of time to do it.
Ozuna fouls it back.
We talked to Dave Wallace before the game, Oriole pitching coach, and he said there's not one thing that I could talk about why our pitching's better in May than April, but it's probably about 2 or 3. A.J. Ramos, hard throwing righty. Just tell right there how hard he can throw. But just collectively more strikes.
Line to right field. Diaz thought about it, plays it on the hop. So Ozuna has a 2-out single. His first hit of the night.
Yeah, I met him. I've been watching him play because, again, I live down here, and a couple of spring training games. I said, you remind me a little bit of Miguel Tejada. And of course, he knew, even though he's only 24, he kind of thanked me for that because Tejada can play. But they do both hit the ball to right field very, very well. And by getting on, and you're down by, 4 runs, you get Stanton to the plate.
Hard ground ball to short. Right to old Reliable. He'll flip to Pierce for the out. So base hit and a man left. We'll head to the 9th. Here's our Mazda do-ups. J.J. Hardy, Alejandro Diaz, and Caleb Joseph has had a big night. On Masson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com and by Coons.com. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. Here's an outside view of Marlins Park right in downtown Miami. Orange Bowl used to be here. Now they play baseball. And here is A.J. Ramos, who is now the closer with Cishek being removed from that.
Well, yeah, he's got three pretty good pitches. Fastball, low 90s, 93. Change-up at 85, a slider 81, maybe 82 miles per hour. And of course, last year he went to 7-0. He was magnificent in one of the real low batting averages in the National League. And it's not getting a whole lot worse this year. Look at the right-handers, 097. So when and this is not one of those situations, but he's going to need work. When they do get a chance to save a game, this is going to be the guy.
And lays it in there, an easy 92 for a strike. Hardy is 0 for 3, but laid down the sacrifice bunt in the 6th that Alvarez threw down the line. The big play in that 4-run rally.
Yeah, look at that breaking ball out of Texas Tech, real quick. And when you look at, I look at everybody when they pitch, is what kind of windup do they have? Can they repeat it? You said it easy 92, and right there's a nice little easy breaking ball. Not a big guy, only 5'10". There's his pitching coach, Chuck Hernandez.
Popped him up, center of the diamond. D. Gordon is taking charge, and right near the pitcher's mound, he's got it for the out. JJ's retired for the first out.
Yeah, you always try to change your eye level, and you can do it with your fastball, you can do it with your breaking ball. He started him out at the knees with a fastball, a couple of breaking balls, and then just up the ladder. That's how you get pop-ups.
Here's Diaz. Alejandro has singled. He has walked twice. He has scored twice. Orioles have 11 hits. The Marlins have 12. Of course, the big thing for the Orioles, we showed you earlier how in the month of May they have been challenged scoring runs, putting 8 on the board here tonight. 6 against the starter Alvarez.
Yeah, but it all imploded when he threw away the bunt.
One outside on Diaz for the Marlins in the 9th, and it looks like Brock's going to stay on. Nothing doing in the Oriole pen. Prado, Bohr, and Real Muto. Dan Jennings is 0-4 as a manager and trailing here.
And he was lamenting about yesterday's game, as I talked about earlier. They scored runs and didn't play well. And today, the extra out in that 6th inning led to a 4-run inning by the Orioles. There's a good changeup. And sometimes that's all it takes.
So 2-2 on Diaz, 1 out, none on. Outside with a breaking ball. He comes a long way towards the Orioles dugout on this follow through. Three and 2 on Diaz. Fifth reliever used in this game by the Marlins. Only Mike Dunn and Carter Capps in the bullpen. Called strike 3 in the outside corner. Diaz thought he had ball 4.
Yeah, perfect pitch. And Alejandro hoping it's outside. It might have been, but nicely caught. Well, Muto just presented.
Not framing.
Well, no, that was a frame job right there.
And a strike taken by Caleb Joseph, who has had a big night. He had 3 hits the entire homestand. He's got 3 hits tonight. And in the dirt, lays off. The Marlins team pitching is 10th in the 15-team National League. Pitchers looking on.
Yeah, Mike Wright there, kind of, let's see, second from the right. He's going to get a second major league start tomorrow against Danny Herron. Dan Herron, he's got 4 wins, 43 pitches. Dan Herron's walked 8, 43 minutes. Does not walk people.
Go up swinging. Buck was mentioning before the game, Herron has a reverse split, so you may see some right-handed bats in there against them tomorrow.
Well, he always had the good splitter. I mean, came up with really get it up there. I mean, good velocities. He lost a little bit of that, but he cuts it, turns it over. He can pitch.
3-1 the count on Caleb. 2 outs, nobody on. And he got it by. When I went in the Marlins clubhouse to get their lineup, he was in the hallway, Dan Herron, being interviewed by, it looked like a Los Angeles writer, because he seemed to be explaining why he made those comments after the trade was made, that he didn't want to leave California. He's talking about his family. And the 3-2 is outside ball 4. He said, you know, my kids are in school now. I can't just pick them up and bring them here.
And then he realized, let's see, they're going to pay me $10 million. I think I might have to.
In an income tax-free
and
state.
I understand that. I mean, he pitched with the Dodgers and pitched with the Angels and been around. And if you had your druthers, and he didn't. I mean, I look at it as what an impact he could have on a lot of the younger pitchers here. And I think that was one of the plans of trying to get him in the first place.
Steve Pearce fouls it back 0-1.
Yeah, Steve does not miss. He's not let too many first pitch strikes go by, or even first pitches. It worked pretty well yesterday when he hit the grand slam off of J.A. Happ. And
fouls it in the net. So 0-2 on Pearce, who pinch hit in the 8th inning and hit into a fielder's choice. Prado, on a nice play, was able to get Alejandro Diaz at the plate. The Orioles have not yet homered in this game. They have won just 2 games all year without a home run. But they do have an 8-4 lead. Outside with a fastball.
Yeah, Ramos, another one of those pitchers that has never, ever started the game. All the way through the minor leagues. Oh, I take it back. 1.
Bounced, and Realmuto keeps it in front of him.
Double-A. Must have been a rehab. He only pitched 1 game, 1 inning. So he started. So that's it. 25, 49, 49, 55. Never a start.
And with the rehab games, if you're going to pitch an inning, they like you to pitch early so you see the regular lineup. 2-2 on Steve Pearce with Joseph on at first and 2 down. Popped him up. Realmuto coming back near the screen. He's going to run out of room. It's in the second row. And whiffed on him. Of course, when it's coming down to your head, probably not a bad idea. Get out of the way. Orioles fans, they're hanging out. Now, Jim, that hat, that's a good look for you. The Oriole hat, hunting hat, camouflage hat. I'm going to get you that.
Thank you.
Grounded foul wide of third.
And where?
I'll find out. I have no idea, but I'll find out. That has.
It actually does have a good look to it.
when you're on one of your estates, checking out your property? You wear the hat to keep the sun off your face?
No, off the ears.
Off the ears?
Yeah, that's.
There you go. When you're back on the lower 40.
Unless you have the kind of plantation hat, that your ears do get fried down here in Florida.
Inside ball 3.
It was 92 on the way down from the Palm Beaches today.
Palm Beaches. Is there more than one beach?
Yeah, actually, there are. Juno Beach, Palm Beach, Singer Island.
Here's the 8th pitch in this at bat, and on 3-2, Joseph will run. And a bouncer weakly hit. Ramos down to the ground to get it, and he gets Pierce at first for the final out. 2-out walk and a man left. Here we go. Bottom of the 9th coming up in Miami. The O's are 3 outs away from a win. As Brad Brock stays on, he's 3 outs away. And the Orioles are 3 outs away from getting a win in a town that has been difficult for them to win it.
And of course the Marlins, they've lost 7 in a row. They'd like to stage a comeback. Brad Brock says otherwise. And really nothing changes. I mean, you're pitching the 9th inning. Certainly capable of doing that as long as you control your emotions. Don't have to throw any harder. You just have to make your pitches.
Martin Prado will lead off. Justin Bour and JT Realmuto are scheduled to follow, and there's a strike. And the way that the bullpen has pitched tonight, with Ubaldo going just 4 innings. Bouncer towards the middle. Hardy back of the bag. He's got it. Plants, throws, got it. Nicely done by J.J. Hardy and 1 away.
Yeah, nice little breaking ball. So Mr. Wright, Mike Wright, his 2nd major league start.
Well, Wilson went an inning and then began a 2nd inning. Faced 3 batters. Didn't get an out in his 2nd inning. But then Tommy Hunter pitched 2 scoreless innings. And Brock is on for his 2nd inning. That means O'Day, McFarland, Madison, Britton, all fully available for tomorrow night.
And Buck Showalter said they had a meeting about adding a pitcher for tonight. That doesn't mean they won't add one for tomorrow.
Fly ball deep left center field. Long run for David Lowe. That ball is way out there and it's gone. It carries over the wall for a home run for Justin Bour.
Well, their hitting instructor Frank Mendocino said, he's a big boy, and I had a chance to meet him. He said, I'd like to get him to hit more balls to left center field, and now I see why. You think it's a double. That's how big this ballpark is, and it's just to the right of the 386. So this ball, it's up, and it's crushed. And it just keeps going. Yeah, a lot of the pitchers when they were hitting today, the starters, they were hitting home runs, but they were hitting them over just to the right of the bullpen into the nightclub area. But that one was to the right of that.
JT Realmuto is 0 for 4.
We always talk about Rule 5 guys, but Justin Bour was a Rule 5
minor league
out of the minor leagues. And it just so he goes to their organization. He has a great year at AAA, and then he has a chance to come to the big leagues.
And just go one level above. Down and away. So it's a 3-run game now.
Well, you don't want to get written up, but you will. I mean, it's a save situation now. And the only reason Buck Showalter would do that is if you keep getting into these counts. We saw what happened when the Orioles were able. I mean, there's a gutsy pitch. Fastball count. Well, actually, I guess the count wasn't. I thought the board had a 3-1.
Yeah, it was 2-1.
It was 2-1. Yeah. So he gets back in the count with a great changeup.
Popped them up. Chris Davis is calling. Pierce calls him off. And Pierce has it for the out. 2 men down.
It's our defensive replacement.
Well, I was going to say, he's a veteran now. He's been out there for a week or so. He's calling off Chris Davis.
He said everything's fine as long as I keep looking in between every pitch to Bobby Dickerson. I got a text from Dean Albany going, Twilight Zone. Steve Pierce in as defensive replacement for the Orioles at second base. Normally would be first or left or something like that.
And there is a strike. Well, the Orioles 1-11 in Miami against the Marlins. Last win here, June 9th, 1999. The winning pitcher was Scott Erickson. Slow roller towards third. This is going to be a tough play. Brock picks it up, throws, and he throws it beyond Chris Davis down the line. So Suzuki's going to reach. And here comes Diaz in to get it. And a hot hitter coming to the plate.
I tell you, Brad Brock made a terrific play to even get to it. I mean, he just picks it up. Then you could see it. He didn't get it in the fingertips. And this is what you were talking about when it comes to if you stop the ball, it's not an error, and the runner's at first. That's what Mike Bordick was alluding to. And here comes your closer.
Here comes your closer with the tying run on deck in the ninth. 2 outs. Owes an out away from a win.
Here in Miami. There are a lot of ground balls, 88% sinkers, fastballs, and then occasional breaking ball. Lately, it's been a good one. So the ERA went up because he did give up 3 runs over the homestand. And lefties Really a non-entity. 083 and only the one home run. So you're looking for an out.
Suzuki is at second with 2 down. Echeverria.
And again, the only time they got him out, Jim, was when they were able to get a breaking ball over. So 3 for 4, all on. You can see it right there. All 3 singles on fastballs. And he's probably going to get one to hit here. The difference is that Britton, when he's on his game, and he was yesterday, getting the save, real good sinker, 95, 96 miles per hour.
Slow roller towards third. It'll bounce foul.
And he can run. It would have been a very difficult play if the ball stays fair.
Zacher in the save in yesterday's game with a 3-up, 3-down knife. Echeverria is from Cuba, 26 years old. Chopper. This is going to be a tough play. Britton fires and out at first base is the call. And we'll see if they ask for a challenge.
Yeah, he's going to come right out and say that. I mean, this is a play that Buck Showalter, if they call it, is going to say this is a play that Zach Britton would not have made 3 years ago. So again, as good as he is, 37 out of 41. He gets to it, he catches it, and then makes a perfect throw for the final out of the game. And the Orioles go on to win here in Miami, something, as you mentioned, Jim, they don't do very often.
And they decided not to challenge there. So the game is over and it's official as the Orioles win it by the final of 8-4. So the Marlins out hit the Orioles 14-11, but the Orioles win it